What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to the Cris Style
And Mal.
Podcast, episode 203, Big Energy Monday. Hope everybody's having a good day. Whatever you're doing, you're at home, you're at work. We appreciate y'all tapping in with the live stream. We was a little late today, had some things to take care of, but we are here now. We got a lot to get into: NFL, college football. Some firings happened today. We're also going to talk about the Aces. They won the championship. We were supposed to have Miss Ballin D. I know we promoted her. She wasn't. Unfortunately, she's not going to be able to make it. Shout out to her, though. She had some things she had to take care of with the Aces. But we do have Mike Cooper coming in from the Scarlet Standard Media. He's going to come in to talk about UNLV football and talk about UNLV versus Boise State, the big matchup this week. So before we get into all that, Mal, how are you feeling, sir?
It was a very interesting weekend for me. I took, some couple of days off, extra. Went to the Giving concert. Giving concert was fire, but I've been sick the last couple of days, man. I don't know what's going around, but that shit had me down. So I'm still kind of going through it, and I'm the main reason why we're late, man. I had an appointment, but that shit ran a little bit longer than I expected. So my apologies to that, but overall, man, I'm here, great spirits, ready to go.
I don't think your mic is on.
Our mic is not on. Hold on, let me check it. What about now?
Now you sound way better.
Man, look, man, it's been a rough last couple of days, bro. I ain't gonna cap, man. That whatever is going around got me down, and this morning has just it hasn't started off. The appointment was amazing, but bad traffic, bad accident, had to take surface streets, man. It's been one hell of a ride. But overall, man, how you doing, man? Enough about me. How you been?
I've been good, man. Got to relax these weekend, no work, on vacation. Got a couple vacation days, chill with the lady. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, man.
Saturday was cool. We chilled out, but she was a little under the weather yesterday and today. But she's still cool. You know what I'm saying? We got to spend time together. That's all that matters. So.
Yeah, man. Take care of y'all selves, man. I don't know what's going on around here, but that shit kicked my ass, bro. I've been down for the last 2 days. So
but don't get me, because when I get sick, I get sick because I don't get sick a lot.
Nah, me either, bro. I haven't been sick in a minute, man. It was literally like body aches was crazy, hot, cold, stomach problems, going to the bathroom all the time. No TMI stuff, but it is bad. Just by the way, it's bad. But let's get to these topics, man.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it, man. The Las Vegas Aces, they won the WNBA Championship. They closed it out in Game 4 to get the sweep against the Phoenix Mercury. A'ja Wilson had 31 points, 9 rebounds. She only made 7 of her 21 field goals, but was superb at the line for 17 of 19 free throws. Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young both each scored 18 points. Most of it coming from the three-point land. Jewel Lloyd and Dana Evans also contributed with double digits off the bench. For the Mercury, Kalea Cooper, she did have 30 points, but she ended up fouling out late. Alyssa Thomas had 17 points. She had triple-double, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, but she also had 9 turnovers. We all know Satu Sabali, she didn't play because she was out because of a concussion. She has a speedy recovery. There was a technical foul, technicals, and an ejection. Coach Nate Tibbetts, he got ejected from the game. So that was a little, thing that kind of got them a little disarray or whatever. The Aces, they started off hot, especially from the three-point range. Their ability to build a big lead early forced Phoenix to play catch-up almost entire game. The Aces never trailed in Game 4 and closed out the series decisively. The win sealed their 3rd championship in 4 seasons, cementing them as a dynasty. A'ja Wilson was named final MVP, adding to her already stellar season. Mal, how you feeling, man, about the Aces winning the championship, their 3rd championship, and being ultimately a dynasty, man?
Man, this season has been an ultimate ride, man. You know what I mean? Going from the early parts of the year where it did seem like things were going our way. Slow starts, us getting dominated by certain teams. But then I don't know, something just clicked, after that Lynx loss where we lost by 40 plus. I think it was like almost like 50 points or something like that, where we lost. And something clicked. You know what I mean? I don't know if they had like a players only meeting. I don't know if they had like a come to Jesus meeting or something like that. I thought Becky Hammond did an amazing coaching job. We got to give a lot of love to Jewel Lloyd for accepting, coming off the bench. And I think that was one of the big keys for this team, because I think it kind of helped out of balance with everything. You know what I mean? I think there was just so much pressure with, maybe trying to ingratiate her and making sure she got her touches, but was still trying to, have, Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, who are very ball dominant guards with A'ja Wilson. Obviously, how we all know how dominant she could be on that offensive side and defensive side, where, she's the main focal point of this team. But I thought it was just the ultimate show of just a testament of what this team is ultimately been about. That, they're a very mentally strong team, a very talented team. We ended up turning into be a deep team. Some of the moves that we did, with Melissa Smith, adding her to the depth. I know her name didn't get really talked about a lot. I know she had a lot of ups and downs during the playoffs, but she has some key, pivotal moments, whether it's, extra foul calls, the activity on defense. I thought she did, I thought it was great. I thought our defense really was the key to us winning these championships. Now, I know a lot of people can, attest to, maybe some of the injuries that, have happened around the WNBA, but, at the end of the day, man, the Aces, they still played who they had to play. Commend to all those teams, who are part of this, great WNBA playoff season. Testament to what the Fever did, without, a lot of the players that they had to go through, the Liberty, the Lynx. It's just a testament to what it is, and ultimate the dynasty that the Aces deserve to have. You know what I mean? It just solidified A'ja Wilson being the GOAT. I don't think the conversation should be there anymore. I know a lot of people still like to put Maya Moore in that conversation, and I get it. I understand it. Maya Moore was one of the best of all time. She can easily be number 2 of all time. But I think with her leaving the league earlier than anticipated, even for all the right reasons why she did leave the league, I'm not even mad at her for what she did. I think you just have to put A'ja Wilson at that top, because A'ja Wilson is not slowing down anytime soon at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's going to be very interesting, because I'm a little bit disappointed that Miss Ballin D couldn't be on the show. It's not her fault at all. You know what I mean? I know she's a very busy woman. Hopefully we can get her on, because there's just so many things I would love to talk to her about, because, the Aces, they have a lot of big free agency. A'ja Wilson's a free agency, Jackie Young.
Everybody's a free agent.
Everybody's pretty much a free agency. So I really wanted to pick her brain to see what kind of the future would hold with this team. Obviously, I expect A'ja Wilson and Jackie Young, the 2 keys, and even Jewel Lloyd probably still being on this team. I'm very curious to see how the rest of the squad would look like. And even the question of Becky Hammond, like, how much longer do you think the Aces are going to be able to hold on to her with an NBA job looming? Like, I think interest with her getting an NBA job, being the first woman to get an NBA job, I think those talks are going to be even louder, because it's just an incredible job that she's done. She's definitely easily, a Hall of Famer in her right, with what she's done in coaching as well as being a player. So she's even in talks of being one of the greatest of all time head coaches, WNBA head coaches, just head coaches of all time, what she's been able to do. So congratulations to the ladies. I'm very super proud. They definitely made Vegas very, very proud. Props to A'ja, for solidifying herself being the GOAT. And let's not testament, Jackie Young's a 3-time champion. She's a Hall of Famer. Chelsea Young, one of the best point guards in the league. She's a Hall of Famer. Jewel Lloyd, 10-0 in WNBA Finals games. She's a Hall of Famer. So many Hall of Famers on this team, and it's in the history books, man. This team is all-time great, and I'm very curious to see how they can extend this, because I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon at all for me.
Yeah, I agree, man. A'ja Wilson is, like you said, she's the best in the league and the GOAT, in my opinion. And like you said, she's not slowing down. She's still in her prime of her career. She's only 27 years old. It's not like she's 30-some years old. Like, the Cynthia Coopers and all them, when the WNBA was, put together, these women had to go overseas and play. And by the time they came into the league, they was 31, 32, 32, 33 years old. So they was a little older. Not A'ja Wilson. She's still young. She still has a prime ahead of her. I think she's just now hitting her stride as far as being in her prime years. So, and she's unguardable. She can play both ends of the court. Like, there's nothing like A'ja Wilson right now. You know what I'm saying? With the height, the offensive weaponry that she got, the versatility that she got, and on defense, she can get back on defense, get rebounds, block shots. Like, there's not a lot of A'ja Wilsons in this league right now. Matter of fact, she's one of one. So, And as far as the aces go, the CBA will tell a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because if these women get more pay, they're definitely gonna have to re-up Asia. They're gonna have to break the bank. She's probably gonna have the biggest contract in WNBA history if they want to keep her on tour. Because if not, then somebody else will pay her.
Nah,
You know?
they'll pay her. They'll pay her like
Oh,
that.
most
That
definitely. Mark Davis is not gonna let that woman go. I'm
nah,
just
nah.
saying. She's
Jackie Young
probably
too.
gonna Jackie Young too, possibly. But yeah, they're definitely gonna have to make her the highest paid women basketball player in history. So to solidify her as being the best player in the league right now. So but you like you said, man, it was a crazy season, man, from where they came from. And I said it myself that their this is one of the greatest turnarounds in a season that we've seen possibly in sports history, not just women's basketball history, but sports history. Because we
Hmm.
got to think that at 14-14, they were dead to rights. Like
Hmm.
nobody was picking the Aces to win a championship. They thought it was over. We even thought like, they need to blow this team up.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
need we need
yeah.
to
We
get
did
some
say that.
younger pieces. We said it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit up
Hmm.
there and say, "Oh man, I believed in the Aces and they're gonna win the championship." No, 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 no. I didn't think, especially when we lost by 50 to the Lynx. I was like, yeah, it might be time to start
Yeah,
selling parts and get
yeah,
ready for the draft.
yeah.
Or yeah, so but ever since then, and I think it was reported that, don't quote me on this, but I think it was reported that after that 50 game loss to the Lynx, um, Asia Wilson told all of them, "Don't come to the gym if you ain't ready to work." Like she was mad. So, and I
Hmm.
think that had a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Becky Hammond for making the right moves. You know what I'm saying? Not just being a head coach, but being operations, a GM per se. You know what I'm saying? To go tell Drew Lloyd to say, "Hey, we need you to come off the bench," because I think that with your older age, you might have a little bit more energy coming off the bench. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I think Jackie should be the one to start, and you know what I'm saying. And Chelsea should be out here. You know what I'm saying. Let those two start at the guard positions. You come in off the bench. You, Dana Evans, y'all come off the bench and y'all do y'all thing that way. So and that worked. And then having Alyssa Smith come in and be, you know, I know a lot of people she is inconsistent as far as offensively goes and even defensively too. But what I will say about Alyssa Smith is she brought a athletic younger body out there at the center position, unlike Kia Stokes, she's older. You know what I'm saying? She's an
Hmm.
older person who can come off the bench and give you some good minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a veteran, but she's a little older. She's in her 30s, so you get a younger person in Alyssa Smith that can run the floor, you know what I'm saying, with an Asia Wilson. Now you could put Asia at the 4 and let her guard down there instead of having her play center, which takes away from her offensive, abilities, you know what I'm saying? Because she got it too busy to be guarding centers and stuff like that. And centers tend to be bigger than her. So
Right.
she's more of a stretch 4, is what they would call it. So you know what I'm saying? Let her play the 4. You have an athletic person like Alyssa Smith playing the center. Now that opened up things for Asia Wilson to, work the way she worked this year. And this is why she's the MVP this year. And this is why they are the WNBA championship champions. So shout out to the Aces. Shout out to Becky Hammond. I'm with you with Becky Hammond. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually she does, because it's going to be out of her and Don Staley to be the first, women NBA coaches. This is gonna be out of
Yeah,
those two.
I agree with you. It's definitely between those two ladies. I'll probably give Becky Hammond just a
Yeah,
little bit more of a upside, just because she was on the Spurs bench for a long time, and there were even some rumors of maybe her kind of preceding Greg Popovich. But let me ask you this quick question, man. Out of all the three championships that the Aces have won, which one do you think was the most impressive one out of
this,
the three?
this one by far, because those other teams, you could say, I guess you could say they were kind of super teams. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
to take away from Asia and what she did, but you had a lot of you had one team with Candace Parker and you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, and you had Kelsey Plum, and like they had some players on these squads. You know what I'm saying? Sid, and you know what I'm saying. I think
Hmm.
De'Arica Hammy was on one of those squads too, right? Like
Yeah.
it was they had some players on this squad. Whereas in this one, even coming from last year when they kind of limped into the playoffs, and you kind of saw it. Injuries kind of took away from them. last year too. But you know what I'm saying, they kind of limped into the playoffs, and they were kind of, you know, I think they made it to the second round, but then got knocked out. And it was just not the same, you know what I'm saying? And it just seemed like Asia had to work it harder, you know what I'm saying? And even coming into this season, before they made the switches and changes that they needed to make, it was rough. It was rough sledding. But like I said, but Becky Hammond, this is probably her best coaching job that she's ever done. You know what I'm saying? Because the changes that, you know, I just talked about that she had to make, it was just like this was probably their this was the best season for them because they had to work and nip and tuck, and then finally once they got it going, they went on that run. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
From a devastating loss to the Lynx to all of a sudden you look up and you're like, damn, they 14 straight, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then all of a sudden they really started rolling and they smoking teams. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until like the playoffs they started playing close games. It was like all of a sudden, you know, outside of like the Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, Dream, they have close games with them and Liberty. But then like towards the end, they started like smoking teams and putting them in because they was feeling it. Like they started getting their stride. They were the hottest team coming into the playoffs. Nobody wanted to play the Aces. So but here we are, they're champion, and like I said, this was definitely the Aces' greatest season.
And you know, going into next year, obviously we're not going to know what's going to happen with this team until the collective bargaining agreement is done. Like we're not going to know where any of these leaders are going. We are going to assume that most of them will probably be back with the team. If saying that, what would you like to see them improve on going into next year? Because we obviously, you know, the Lynx are going to get healthier, Fever are going to be healthier, Liberty and all them, so it's going to be a lot tougher, and a lot more of those teams are going to be motivated. What would you like to see them improve on? Whether it's, you know, point guard play, backup point guard play, you know, maybe adding more depth to the front line to help Asia Wilson. What would you like to see?
Probably more depth behind Asia Wilson to give her a breather. You know what I'm saying? Another stretch forward that can possibly play both ends of the court. Maybe not as great as Asia,
Yeah.
of course, but somebody who can come off the bench and still give you 10, 15 off the bench, maybe, you know what I'm saying, and get rebounds. That's what they need help with. They need somebody who can help out with the rebounds, offense and defensive rebounds, who can be that, you know what I'm saying, that power forward center type that can bang, you know, get all the dirty stuff, do the dirty work, you know what I'm saying? But also can play, like I said, can play both ends of the court and give Asia Wilson a breather so she can be more fresh. So we don't have to stretch her so thin during the season, you know what I'm saying? So she can be fresh. So when it gets close to playoff time, she's ready to go. Not to say she wasn't this year, because she obviously was, but even more so, you want to preserve your star players as much as you can because they got to play so many minutes because they are the star players of your team. So why not get somebody who can play behind Asia when she's off the court? So you won't skip a beat as much. You know what I'm saying? Like that person come off the bench, shoot a couple of shots. Oh, they got 10. All right, get off. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they getting rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Like they need something like that. Because point guard, I think they're fine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chelsea is getting older, and maybe you get somebody who could replace her and be the heir apparent to Chelsea Gray, possibly eventually. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you get that going. But I think they're good at guard. Maybe you get another couple wing players, you know what I'm saying? Because Jewel Lloyd isn't getting no younger either. So maybe they get another wing player, but they definitely need somebody who can give Asia Wilson a breather.
No, I agree with you. I think the development of Nalissa Smith is going to be huge for this team to move forward. I think she definitely needs some development. I agree with you. I think they do need like a backup for to help Asia Wilson. Like she's one of the few that are blessed that she doesn't have to go play overseas. She makes a lot of money where she could take a lot of rest. So her body doesn't really go through the punishment as other players do. But with the addition of more teams and them adding more games, you would want to, you know, not put so much weight on her, especially during the season. You kind of want to save her more towards, you know, maybe the bigger games of the season, going into the playoffs, you know, kind of reserve her energy going in. You know, she is still young, but at the end of the day, she is, you know, she is getting up in age as well. So it will be, my apologies about that. She will be she will be important. I do think they need to find a balance because I think they were having Jackie Young playing a lot more point guard, more so than Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray, I feel like, you know, she picked her spots when to kind of dominate the ball and be the point guard, but it seemed like Jackie Young was the more predominant point guard, especially like during the playoffs. Like Chelsea That's the only one I would probably be a little bit more concerned about, was just with her age and her legs, because we all know some of the problems she has had with her knees, and obviously it seems like she's being a little bit more ankle problems as well. So I would love to see them add a little bit more depth. I'm going to be very curious to see what they do with Dana Evans, whether they keep her or whether they move on for her. I thought Dana Evans was really, really huge, especially hitting some of the bigger shots. I do think they need to replace Kristen Bell. You know, I know I call her, Kyle Kuzma, but I do think they need to upgrade. I know she's been on this team for a while, but I still don't understand what her purpose is on this team. Like, I know she started a lot of the games, but I don't think she did anything but besides start maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then she was off the floor. So I think they need to add depth in that. I don't know what they will do with her. I think it seems like she's just, I hate to say it, like she's just, kind of like the mascot of the goddamn team. Like, she doesn't really do anything to me. I would love to see an update. And I don't mean that as disrespect. Like, she did have a couple big threes, but now those would be a couple things I would love to see them improve on, add a little bit of depth to the front line, and then obviously see if they can start looking at a replacement for Chelsea, because we can tell it's getting closer to that time where it just seems like, it might be time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. But shout out to the Aces, man. And it's going to be interesting with the CBA, like you said, coming up, how things shake out and for next season. So
yeah, when's the parade? When's the parade for?
It is on Friday.
Okay.
At 5 p.m.
Oh, wow. So it's going to make it hard to get out of work.
Yeah, 5 p.m. So.
Okay.
All right, man. Before we get into our special guest, he's going to be coming soon. I just wanted to get on this. James Franklin has been fired from Penn State. They made the announcement yesterday trying to be slick while NFL games was going on. They tried to slip it in and say, hey, we fired James Franklin. Word around, I don't know how true this is, but the word is that Adidas is the reason why he got fired, because they're sick of putting all this money in and not winning big games, I guess, or whatever. But look, we talked about James Franklin. Like, we talked about how he's changed the culture of this, and like, if you haven't been sleeping under a rock, you know that Penn State's name has been was a little tainted. Not even a little, it was a lot tainted. You know what I'm saying? With the Sandusky stuff, Joe Pa kind of sweeping it under the rug for years. With the child molestation stuff that he was doing, Sandusky, it it put a stain on Penn State badly. You know what I'm saying? Which was once a prestigious college was now looked at as tainted. Like, nobody wants to go to Penn State. And then you bring James Franklin, who people forget that Vanderbilt program that looks good right now, he built that. He built that program up, and he made that program respectable. So that's why he came over to Penn State, and he even built a program and got talent in Penn State. It wasn't like it was a drop off. You know what I'm saying? You got your Micah Parsons, you got your Abdul Carters. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like that he didn't bring talent there. But I just think, unfortunately, he never could get the quarterback thing right. He could never get over the hump when it comes to that. And when he played the Michigans, when he played the Ohio States, he would just always come up short. He could never win the big games. And then this year you come in with high expectations with Drew Allar coming back, most of your team coming back. You're supposed to be national championships contenders this year, and you drop to teams that everybody's expecting you to beat. I mean, you drop to Oregon, which I get it. Oregon's a top tier team. You know what I'm saying? But you lose to UCLA, who everybody thought UCLA is dead to rights. Now that might be changed now because they coming up 2 back-to-back performances with the offense. It looks like it's woke up.
Yeah, Nico looking like a Heisman center right now.
Maybe Deshaun Foster was the issue over there, but they just never could get over the hump with James Franklin. And at the end of the day, when you're in the Big Ten, when you're in the SEC, you're expected to win big games at big times. That's what the boosters pay you for, and that's what these programs get paid millions and billions of dollars to do. When you're at Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, you're expected to win. So he didn't never win those big games, and that's always going to be over his head. But I also don't want it to get lost that he did build that program from what it almost was. It was almost down to the bottom because of what transpired from the prior regime. So he did build it up, but he just never could get over the hump. So.
Nah, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think what he did, coming from the Sandusky stuff and rebuilding that program to the prestige that it was once known, I think is really commendable for what James Franklin was able to do. But at the end of the day, man, we all kind of saw the writing on the wall that this team, this was the year for him to get it done, especially with him having the class that he had come in. I think he had the number one class coming into this year. You had Drew Allar, who was the beginning year pretty much being picked as like the quarterback to go number one overall into the NFL. Your defense was pretty much same as it was last year, minus a couple players. Your offense is, pretty much brought back pretty much everybody, and yet you failed miserably. And prayers out to Drew Allar. I know he's out for the whole year, and let's see what happens with his career going forward. I'm sure it doesn't really help out his draft prospects, so I'm very curious to see how that goes and his healing process and all that. But it just is what it is. I think both sides need to kind of like a fresh start, whether it's from Adidas or whoever the case may be. I think this was. Now, could you say is this the correct move at this particular time? I don't know. I think time will tell at that. Am I going to sit here and say I feel bad for James Franklin? No, he's getting paid over $50 million. I don't feel bad for no head coach in a professional league that gets fired, because at the end of the day, you get all your money, and I'm not going to feel bad for you. You get $50+ million that you're going to get bought out for. So it's not like you're going to be broke. James Franklin will find another job. I'm going to be curious to see where he goes, whether he wants to try to stay in the Big Ten, if he wants to try to dabble in the SEC, whether he wants to go to the Big 12 or maybe another conference or something like that. I'm going to be very curious. Like, his name is going to be floated around everywhere because, it's going to be a lot of transition. Now you got Penn State, who's going to be looking at a lot of cats in prominent schools. Maybe that's where he fits in. I've heard, the Texas A&M head coach being one of the guys. I've heard Sarkisian, depending on what happens at Texas. Does James Franklin get the opportunity at Texas? Does James Franklin get an opportunity at UCLA if he wants to try to build that program back up to prestige and what they got going on over there? Florida, depending on what goes on at Florida State now with all the problems, they look like they were be one of the best teams. Now it looks like they might be looking in the head coaching field as well. So, and then even Dabo Swinney, we got to look and see what happens with him at Clemson. I know they kind of bounced back, even though against lower tier teams, but just what they were kind of expected to do this year. We got to kind of assume that maybe his name might get brought up into maybe leaving Clemson. So it's going to be very interesting to see what both sides do, what Penn State decides to go do with head coach. I think UNLV should be a little worried that maybe Dan Mullen's name might get put into that aspect. Maybe we can talk to our homie Mike here in a second. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not surprised either. Like you said, he's getting paid handsomely, so he'll be cool. You know what I'm saying?
He'll be fine. Yeah, I don't feel bad for no coaches with that. No, he'll be all right.
He'll be all right. So, but he'll land back on his feet probably.
100%.
If not 100%. Next season, the season after that, maybe he takes a year off. I don't know, but he'll land back. He'll get another coaching job for sure.
There might be some really good positions out, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a job by next year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's bring in our guests.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's going on, Mike?
What's up, man? What's up, Mike? What's going on, brother?
I was listening about your conversation about the whole James Franklin thing, and it's like Mal, like you just mentioned, that is going to be very interesting what the ripple effect of this fire does. Does that expedite Florida to get rid of Napier? Is Cignetti going to go there? If Cignetti doesn't go to Penn State, is there an SEC school that poaches him? And it even could be like if Sark does leave Texas and go to Penn State, does Cignetti go to Texas over James Franklin? Is that there's gonna be a ripple effect. And I saw some shows last night. Maybe you guys could have your opinion on this. Is Indiana really a worse job than Penn State right now? Where he's,
I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, it just depends on whether they're willing to throw the bag. Like, if somebody's willing to give you the extra $25 million or something to add on to what you're getting, then all right, you're not gonna not listen to that. You know what I mean? But Indiana is a great program right now. Like, they could be one of the favorites to win it all. Because at this point, I don't know who the favorite is. Maybe Ohio State might be the best team, Miami as well. Those teams like that. But besides that,
But I mean, the way that you just saw Indiana handle Oregon at Oregon,
yeah,
that really opens up the question, like you just said. I think one point we that's been missed about this is like you said, it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what is the true NIL backing for a new coach at Penn State. Are they willing to invest? Or are they just keeping, limitations on what Franklin did? Is Indiana really, throwing the bag at Signetti to keep Signetti with big NIL promises too? I think that's what the Virginia Tech and Arkansas jobs and even UCLA. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a report circling around last night that UC Regents they don't even know how they're going to pay the next head coach at UCLA yet.
That's crazy.
So that kind of what good candidate would want to go to that situation where they don't know how they're going to pay their head coach, and that's coming from the UC, UC Regents, not the school or figuring it out like this. The California university system doesn't know how they're going to pay their head coach,
which is insane for a college like UCLA and how much tuition is just to get into that school. Like, I think money should be the last resort with UCLA. I think money should be no problem. Obviously, if it's true with what the reports are, what Cris said, with Adidas being the main focal point and trying to get this move to happen, it seems like Adidas is willing to fund whoever to come in and get the job done at Penn State. So I don't know what the purpose is with Adidas picking Penn State to be the school that they want to see be
the crazy thing is that Adidas deal doesn't start till next year. They're still with Nike technically till the end of this season.
Yeah, but my question is, why out of Adidas? I don't know how many other programs that they're partnered with, but
I know Texas Tech is one of them because of Mahomes.
But why Penn State out of all the schools? So you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna make sure that this school is the one that we need to get the right head coach because we want to see this program win. I don't understand it. Maybe like one of the board members on Adidas is a Penn State alumni. I don't know, but I think that's one conversation.
I mean, Adidas is trying to compete with Nike in a sense with how much Phil Knight's putting into Oregon.
Yeah.
So they're kind of picking. I mean, Texas Tech is getting all the oil money and all that. So I don't know if Adidas really has to worry about Texas Tech.
So Penn State is going to be their kind of like Nike school, like what Nike is to Oregon.
I mean, that's if that report's true, it's kind of what it's looking like.
That's what it's looking like. So if that's the case, then I don't think money's an object for Penn State. They're going to try to get whoever they can get at that point.
I do think of all these big openings, you mentioned Dan Mullen. If UNLV runs the table and makes the CFP, I fully expect him to be gone, and I would fully expect him to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they went maybe not, I don't know how to word this correctly, a cheaper route, like they strike out kind of like how Bama did.
Yeah.
But Mullen wants to go back to that level, and they offer him, he's making 3.5 at UNLV. So if they offer him somewhere, they may not pay him what Franklin was making, but if he gets 7-8, UNLV can't match that. And the $8 million buyout for a school like that is nothing.
So but that's the question though. Like with UNLV and how far this program has come the last 10 years, how can we ever expect to get over the top if we can never pay these head coaches to stay? Like it seems like we're just gonna have to keep going through transitional year with a new head coach, trying to maintain what we've been able to build if we can't even keep these head coaches that we have in here now.
I mean, it's interesting because they paid. So when Barry left, they were paying Barry 1.7. Barry got offered 6.5 and he took it at Purdue. Mm-hmm. I from what I heard and what I read, they got as high as offering him 4. And that was before. And then next thing you know, a couple of days later, they get Dan Mullen at 3.5 over the next 5. So it'll be interesting to see if they do go for, if they go 11-1 and get a high level bowl game, what's that extension look like for him? Do they boost up the buyout? I mean, realistically, where UNLV is at, the only thing that may hold them back is what the new Mountain West looks like.
Yeah,
losing all those football schools, and with how these new the bigger Power 4 conferences are doing their scheduling alignments now, are schools like that even going to risk playing somebody like UNLV?
That's true.
Yeah. So it's like it. I don't know if UCLA, other than them being in, like for example, for them being in the Big Ten, I don't know if that job is a better job than what UNLV is, but it's just the classification of being back in the Power Four. And I feel the same way. I feel the same way with like Virginia Tech and Arkansas. Is Virginia Tech and Arkansas really a better job than what UNLV is progressing at? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on what the backing looks like. But it's really if he wants to take over that challenge to go back to a Power Four. So it's interesting to see like what the mindset's going to be, and if they make a deep run, what does that TV revenue look like? What does that share look like if they do leave? If that buyout happens and they get $8 million, like does that almost eliminate the debt that they're in before they even get paid from the Mountain West? So then they can do what Mal just said and pay a coach $6 million a year. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what that kind of future looks like.
Let me ask you one more question before we get into the Boise State game, and I'll let Cris ask the questions from here. Do you think, with that being said, do you think it's even more important that UNLV finds a new home outside of Mountain West and try to get their way into like a Big 12 or something like that?
I've been on the horse that I think that their target was after this first wave of realignment. I think that they have to get basketball right. This Pastner hire needs to be a home run hire. Everything he says, everything he's done, everything how they look on paper and how he's recruited has fit the build. But, you know, keep in mind, they haven't made the NCAA tournament in 13 years.
Yeah.
So they have to get basketball right. You can sell Allegiant Stadium. You can sell the trajectory of what the football program looks like, but you kind of can't sell what UNLV basketball is right now. Right. Because realistically, if you go back and look at their attendance numbers, under all 4 years under Kruger and the last year of Marvin Menzies, their average attendance didn't crack 5,000. Yeah. And in an arena that holds 18,000. So it's like you have to figure out if basketball can get right. Obviously, Lindy has women's basketball going crazy. You know, Mullen and Odom have continued this football trajectory. If you can keep this build over the next 3 or 4 years and show that promise, the Big 12 conferences like that are going to be more enticed than where UNLV is at right now. I know football is king and football is everything, but there's also bigger things that go into it. You can't throw where UNLV is at into the Big 12 right now and have them play against Houston and Kansas and those level of programs. They're just going to be a bottom feeder like, you know, some of those schools are. And that's not what you want when you build when you're looking for a new school. I mean, and to be fair, they turned down Memphis willing to pay $20 million out of pocket and take no TV revenue. Yeah. So it's interesting to see what the future holds. Is maybe, you know, there is this in the next, you know, that deal ends in 2031. So, you know, there's a lot of time, but maybe, you know, there is a super league for the G5. Maybe there is, you know, there's something something's going to give at some point. It's just going to be a matter of what and what this new, like, you know, does, you know, all those rumors for all these years now is Clemson and Florida State can leave the ACC. What is that going to look like if they actually leave the ACC? Does that open up, you know, the Pac-12 or the Mountain West or Big 12 to try and poach those teams and see where that goes? Do the Pac-12 and Mountain West end up merging maybe in 2031? Who knows? Like, it's just there's so much gray that it's hard to gauge.
Yeah, Pac-12 and Mountain West should merge. I don't understand why they haven't done that yet. Me personally, with the team they have left.
From what I understand, it was a petty fest. The Oregon State, Washington State went back on their scheduling agreement, and next thing you know, they took the five schools that left, and now it's just a, you know, who has a bigger balls contest basically.
Which it always is. It's always about that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike. Let's talk about UNLV a little deeper. Since we talked to you, you know, it was early in the season, you know, it really hadn't really kicked off like that. But now we're, you know, 7 weeks into the season. The UNLV is 6-0 right now. So what is your overall thoughts of this team so far?
Offensively, they're one of the best teams in the country. They can score at will and on anybody. Defensively, they are absolutely atrocious.
Oh, bro! Over 400 yards rushing was insane.
So I was looking up where they stand offensively as a team. Their yardage wise, they're number 3 in the Mountain West. ironically behind Air Force. Air Force averages 490 yards a game. So giving up 600 was not really as bad as it looks, in a sense, because that offense is something else. Air Force's problem is they get 490 yards a game, but they give up 496. So like their defense is like, it's like a way up high, way down low. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I want to see still is them win a game without a turnover.
Yeah.
They've been very, very opportunistic all season. Granted, Calandria and Thomas and all of them, they've taken advantage of it, which is everything they should. Right. But it's, they need to figure out how they can win a clean game. They haven't played a complete game yet. And that's shocking to say through six games.
Mm-hmm.
I was very shocked when I saw the line for this Boise game. I thought, the look ahead line they put out last week at 8.5. I thought, okay, that was kind of right. Touchdown, maybe give Boise, the home field advantage. That made sense. But them shooting it up to it, I saw early Sunday morning, it was as high as 12.5. It's come back down to like 10. So people took those points, but it's Boise. It's going to be very interesting to see how this game goes. I feel like, especially last week, they were caught looking. Mm-hmm. They've had this game circled all. I wrote about it. I preached about it all week. They've had that Boise game circled all season long. It's either they're going to come ready to go, or they're going to get hit in the mouth early and not be able to get off the campus.
Yeah.
But granted, this team is crazy in a sense. They have so much roller coaster, and I will say they are one of the most resilient football teams I have ever seen play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a sense of like, look at Idaho State. Granted, that should never happen against the FCS, but you come back multiple times in that game.
Right.
You come back from 14 down 3 times against Miami of Ohio. They won a snow game. Ice snow game at Wyoming. And even last week, that fourth quarter was back and forth. And there were plenty of times where, typical old UNLV teams just are down and out and they don't come back. But this team just finds a way. I've seen on Twitter, there are some teams some fans calling this UNLV team a team of destiny, mm-hmm. because it just happens. You have the luck just bounce your way. And you kind of never seen that with a UNLV team, so maybe what they're saying is true. I'm not going to buy into that yet, but I think if they can get over the hurdle of beating Boise, they're going to run the table, and it's going to be a matter of if they can either win a rematch against Boise in the Mountain West Championship, or they don't play that San Diego State team. That San Diego State team is better than people give them credit for. They're good. They're very good offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but the crazy thing is too, if you look at how the rankings are playing out, they're 6-0. They're not ranked.
Mm-hmm.
If they beat Boise, maybe they rank them. If they run the table, are they still going to get in over an AAC team? Does the CFP have the balls to put 2 group of 5 teams in the playoff? That's going to be an argument if that happens, because Memphis and USF are going to, they play each other at some point. One of those teams, if they win out, they're going to get in, because they're both already ranked. So it's good. And USF is losses to Miami. So it's like,
yeah. There's definitely gonna have to be some luck involved for a Mountain West school, I think, to get into this college football playoff this year. I think it helped out last year just because Boise State was ranked so high that it gave UNLV a shot. I just can't see that unless some weird, I think this college football season has just been weird already, with just kind of like the influx on who we thought was great to what we've seen now so far. What's your kind of overall confidence level going into this game with this UNLV team?
I would feel more confident backing UNLV than I would Boise State if I were being it from a neutral perspective, mm-hmm. because I feel more confident in if this game turns into a shootout, that UNLV can win a shootout type game than Boise State can.
Yeah.
Boise State's not a team that's built like that. I think Boise State is a school that prides themselves on dictating the tempo, dictating the game, dictating everything, the flow, and making you play their brand of football. When they get out of whack and don't play their brand of football, that's when they become susceptible to being beat. And I think with UNLV, it's shown all season that, it doesn't matter who they play, they can figure out a way to win. And I think it's going to come down. Boise State has two very good running backs in Sire Gaines and I don't remember his first name, but his last is Riley. Oh, Dylan Riley. Those are some two really good running backs. They average 7 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. They're both, Riley's about 500 yards. Gaines is about 350, but Gaines has missed the game. I think where UNLV has the edge is at quarterback. I don't trust. I trust Anthony Calandria to go and win me a game more than I'd go trust Maddox Madsen.
What's your overall thoughts on Anthony Calandria? Like, how do you feel about him as a gamer?
I think the dude's a baller. I think you had these expectations of him coming in as a former ACC starter, coming into the Mountain West. He won the job over Alex Orji. But you didn't know what to expect from him. He was very turnover prone at Virginia, and he hasn't been at UNLV. And anytime you've asked him to step up, or you've seen him step up in a game, he stepped up in a game. He's not making those wild throws he made at Virginia. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think UNLV's turned the ball over. They don't turn the ball over much at all.
They don't.
I don't think in 6 games, I don't think they turned the ball over 10 times total. So they play very a controlled style of football, and that starts at the quarterback position. And I think you saw it in that Air Force game and in the Miami of Ohio game. Every time they needed a score, he took them right down the field. Right. That Air Force game was all right. We scored, you scored. Now we got to answer again, and he answers the bell every time. He just won Mountain West Player of the Week for the 3rd time this season. So I think in my eyes, it's hard to argue that he's not the front runner to win Mountain West Offense Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, for sure. What are some of the things you need to see from this defense going into this Boise State game? Like, what are some of the key things you need to see them do for them to be able to win this game?
They got to play more disciplined and not have I think the main issue this defense has had all season is they are very, very undisciplined. They're the most penalized team in the conference, and they're one of the most penalized teams in the country. The thing that in the Air Force game, in the UCLA game, there were multiple times where the defense can get off the field. They have the ball 3rd and long, and it's a hold, it's a pass interference, it's an unnecessary roughing the passer call. It's something that keeps those drives going. And I think people don't realize UNLV scored last week. They scored 50 points, but they only had the ball for 26 minutes. They averaged 10 yards a play on offense. Offense is doing their job. The defense couldn't. It was the defense. They just need to be more disciplined. I think that the corners are fine. They've had their moments of where they looked really good. My other concern is their pass rush. They only had. I know Air Force runs a different style of offense, but you can't have one quarterback pressure in a 60-minute football game. Yeah, it's they've had very few sacks all season. The defensive pressure has not been there like people thought it would be. I mean they're leading. They have 10 sacks as a team in 7 games. Yeah, like you're the leading their highest person with sacks is 2, which is Amaris Brown, which is a safety. Like you're not getting pressure on your defense, which is not setting up your corners and your secondary to be successful. So I think Mullen's been preaching the last couple of weeks that it's taken time. They have 60 plus new players, but you're at week 7 at this point. You can't continue to give up massive amounts of yards like they have, and that this may be the week that shows. It could be one of those weeks they give up 600 yards and they get blown out. They get blown off the field because they won't be able to stop Boise. I mean, Air Force. To be fair, Air Force put up 500 yards on Boise State too. People don't talk about that. Air Force had them on the ropes and they only lost by 12. they blew that game towards the end. They, Boise did Boise things and came back and won that game. So it could be something like that, but it's, they have to be disciplined. They have to get pressure on Maddox Madsen. And I think they have to be able to respond in that ruckus environment that, that the Albertson Stadium is on the Smurf turf. The fans are going to be crazy. It's a daytime game. It's going to be a tough place to win. And, UNLV hasn't beat them since 1976. So it's, they have to make a statement. And this is the week that, Gunther has to make a statement on the defense side of the ball. I think offense will step up, but Gunther has to prove that he can be a good team and not play this brand of football that he's playing.
If the defense is the demise of the team winning this game, do you see them making a change? I know Paul Gunther is the interim defensive coordinator, but do you see them making a change in season?
I doubt it, honestly, because in my personal opinion, before even when they had Zach Arnett, I predicted they would go 11-1 and lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they would get a second crack at them in the Mountain West Championship if the cards fell right. So I don't think so, but just because he has that interim tag as well, I think there's it just shows more and more that there needs to be an upgrade of more of Mullen's coordinators, and it's just going to be a matter of who. And I think that, a lot of these guys were brought in to play for Zach Arnett's style of defense.
Okay.
And, Zach Arnett's not here.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to gauge when you recruit guys for a different system and you're running something else. So I think, I don't think he'll be back as the defense coordinator. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked. I think he'll go back. I think he was hired as an analyst, associate head coach to Mullen. So I think he kind of, falls back to that kind of role.
Okay.
I think he stays on the staff, but I don't think he's going to be your defensive coordinator, play caller. And I will say you can definitely tell during the games when Mullen starts calling plays.
Okay.
Because you don't see Jet, and then all of a sudden you see Jet get 8 carries on 8 touches on one drive. It's like, oh yeah, Mullen just called that drive.
I was going to ask you about that. Why is that? Why doesn't Jet get used a lot? Because I always feel like he needs to be used more, and I always see the other running backs in there.
So there was at Mullen's weekly press conference last week, there was a reporter. I think it was either Cofield, who does ESPN Las Vegas, right, or Graney from the RG. I can't remember who it was. He asked the question, why is Jet not getting 20 carries? And he said Mullen's reasoning was he wants to keep Jet fresher for the length of the season, keep him healthy, and use him later in games, which I don't think makes sense because you're only giving him 20 carries as it is. I think you saw last week I wrote a piece after that came out, and I said that nobody's asking him to get 20 carries, but he needs to be more involved in other aspects of the game. Mm-hmm. And, you saw last week, he only had 15 carries or whatever it was, but he had 6 catches. Mm-hmm. There's other ways to get him involved in the game and keep him on the field. It's not necessarily about him getting 20 plus carries. Right. Get him 20 plus touches.
Right.
You saw last week against Air Force how dynamic he was in the passing game. He had a 51-yard reception. He had a bunch in the flat that they turned into 5, 6, 7 yards. Get him involved that way. You don't have to give him 20 carries a game, but give him 20 touches. Get him involved in the passing game. Get him in. Last week he had 11 carries for 88 yards, but he had 6 catches for 58 yards. So there's 17 touches. The last week was his fewest amount of carries in the season, but he's leading the nation in yards per carry at 8.0 yards per carry. So you can get him involved. It's figuring it out and getting him involved the way that he needs to. He's popped up on the injury report the last 3 weeks too, so I don't know if Mullen doesn't want to talk about that. Right. It doesn't show what the injury is, but he's popped up questionable on the weekly injury report the last 3 games. So it's going to be very interesting to see, is he hurt? Is that the real question? Is Mullen saving him? Is this the game he gets unleashed? I'm not really sure, but it's also interesting to see. I posted that article on social media and on my Instagram, and you had 2 UNLV players comment and say get Jet the ball from the moment he steps in the stadium.
Let me ask you this question.
Hold on.
Go for it.
So when his own teammates are saying that, there's something going on, I think.
Yeah. How important is this game for UNLV going forward as far as like the future outlook of this? Like, how important is this game for the whole totality of the UNLV program?
I think if they want to host the Mountain West Championship in Vegas, they have to win this game, because the way that their schedule is laid out, they don't play. They have 5 home games in the season, or 4 home games and 5 games that they'll have left after this. They have a very weak schedule. It's the bottom tier of the Mountain West. The Colorado States, the New Mexicos, the Utah States, Hawaii, and Reno. They're not the most top tier team, so they can win. They can easily win all those games. So it's a matter of, I think they have to win this game to stay in the CFP race. I think if they finish 11-1, they're not ranked, and they go into the Mountain West Championship game, that's going to be a problem. And I think Sandy, I may be wrong, but I think San Diego State misses both Boise and UNLV.
Yeah.
Oh no, San Diego State plays Boise, but that game's in San Diego.
Okay.
They don't play UNLV. So with them being as successful as they have been, that throws a wrench into it as well, because then it turns into a 3-way tie of who beat who, and then you got to win games. And I think the thing that's had them a couple years, I think it was Odom's first year, that 3-way tiebreaker was how bad they beat some of the schools that they played.
Yeah.
So I think so it kind of goes in hand with that Gunther question. Gunther has to keep their defense under control to have their winning margin be well in case of any tiebreaker happening. But San Diego State was receiving votes this week. Boise State has bounced back really well since that USF is better than people gave them credit for. Their other loss is only to Notre Dame. So you may see Boise State start to take off and go back into the rankings as well. But I think if you have a 1-loss UNLV team that doesn't make the Mountain West Championship, they're not going to go where they want to go.
Yeah. When I ask that question, I mean so much as the perception of UNLV as a whole, because I know UNLV has like a certain perception about them not being like the top dogs of this conference. Like, how big of a win would this be for the perception of UNLV?
I think it changes the narrative of the program, because right now I think they're a program that's right there that hasn't gotten over the hump yet.
Yeah. And
with this being the last year of the San Diego States, of the Boise States, what better departing gift than for UNLV to finally take that hurdle, get over that hurdle, and win the conference. I think too, it kind of will give them the perception won't be as high if they go next year and beat the schools they're supposed to beat in the Mountain West that's staying, and win the conference. Then it's just going to be, they couldn't beat them when they had better schools in the conference.
Yeah.
They couldn't win the league when other better schools were in the conference. So I think this is their last chance to make a statement and get over the hump. And I think if they do that, that changes the perception on a lot of things.
Yeah. Before we get you out of here, what's your overall prediction of this game? Like, what do you think is the key factors of this game?
I think you have to be able to contain the Boise running backs. I think Gunther has to call his best game of the season. And I think that you have to get Calandria. You have to protect Calandria, keep him on his feet, not keep him running for his life the whole game. And you have to keep that way he doesn't turn into the turnover-prone Calandria that he has been in the past. And I think this is the game that you have to make a statement with Jet. I think you have to get Jet involved in as many ways as you can, because if he's not involved, you're not winning this game.
Yeah.
Kayvon Lee is a great running back. They have great receivers, and Jaden Bradley and Troy Amore is coming along. Tyshawn Lyons is coming along as well. They're starting to develop, but it all starts with how Calandria calls the game and how they get Jet involved. Because at the end of the day, having Jet back there is like how Genty was in the backfield for Boise State. The game changes. He gets a touch, the game changes.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that, he's getting 2,700 yards like Genty was, because he's not. He's not getting that touches and workload.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to respect what he can do. And if you put 7-8 in the box, that completely changes the game. That opens up Jaden Bradley and, Gums at tight end, and that opens up the passing game for Calandria. I think the biggest key for me, though, is how they handle the environment. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be loud. This is going to be the loudest place they played all season. You're going to have 36,000 fans who do not like you. They do not respect your program. They don't take you seriously. The sports books aren't taking them seriously either. So I think, this is their chance to really, like you just mentioned, this could be a program moving forward and program changing win. And I think Mullen knows that. I think Mullen had 3 games circled when he got hired. Beat UCLA, beat Boise, and win the Mountain West Championship. And he has to get through. He got through 1. Now this is step 2, and you have to get through step 2 to be able to even consider getting to step 3.
Right.
So what's your score? Real quick before you go? What you got? What's your final score?
I think this is hard because I want to be the homer and fan in me and pick UNLV.
Yeah.
And back my school and who I support, but I really think it's going to be one of those games that is going to come down to who has kind of similar to how the UNLV has played all season, who has the ball last.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a 38-31 Boise win, a 38-35 Boise State win, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I think that the line is disrespectful at 10, 12, wherever it's at. I think they're a lot better team than that, but I won't be surprised if UNLV loses this game, but I also won't be surprised if they win this game.
Yeah.
I think if they win this game, it's going to be somewhere in the, it's going to be a 45-41 type game. It's going to be a 45-38 type game. Like, it's going to be a shootout that UNLV, that UNLV gets ahead big early and Boise comes storming back and UNLV holds off the storm. Kind of like similar to the UCLA game, but higher scoring.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game I think they have to play to win if they're going to win this game.
Okay.
For sure. Well, Mike, man, thank you for coming on again, man, talking to us about UNLV, man. We definitely got to get you back on, man, and hopefully we'll be talking about, UNLV going into the Mountain West Championship. So definitely had to get you back on, man. Tell everybody where they can follow you, all your stuff, and all your social media stuff.
You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is SS_MediaLV. You can follow me on Instagram as well at the Scarlet Standard Media. That name is also the same on Facebook. And then you can follow me on Substack as well at the Scarlet Standard. I will say, basketball starts for UNLV this week as well. They have an exhibition game against Washington. So you're gonna, even though their point guard UC Irvine transfer Miles Chi is out, it's going to be a good chance to get to see what they have and what this team is potentially going to look like. It is an exhibition game, but we'll see. It's against Washington, who's a higher level opponent. And, going back in these games, like Grand Canyon almost beat Baylor the other day. So it's a good test to kind of gauge, see what they look like.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely check them out this year for sure. So, all right, man. Thanks for coming on, man.
Mike, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, man. Shout out to Mike Cooper for coming on.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you, brother, for coming on and taking your time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's get into our college football recap. Matter of fact, let's take a quick break.
Introduce yourself to Magnet, the ultimate sports drink. Are you ready to take your performance to the next level? Do you want a sports drink that eliminates the muscle cramps and fatigue when working out or training? Meet Magnet, the sports drink designed for athletes who refuse to settle for mediocrity. It's power-packed electrolytes and rehydrates and restores balance with their scientifically formulated blend with magnesium that fights fatigue and boosts endurance. It has natural ingredients made with real fruit extracts and no artificial colors or flavors because your body deserves the best. It has delicious flavors like mixed fruit and watermelon that keep you revitalized and ready for action. It will boost your performance with essential vitamins and minerals. Magnet fuels your workouts, helping you crush your goals. Join the Magnet movement whether you're training, competing, or simply staying active. Magnet is your go-to refreshment for peak performance. You can order it now on our direct link at drinkmagnet.com. Also, use promo code Cris Mal to get $5 off your purchase. So don't wait. Again, that promo code is Cris Mal to get $5 off your purchase. Get Magnet, push your limits, fuel your passion.
Shout out to Maddening Sports Drink. All right, man, let's talk about it, man. There's some big college football games this weekend. We got to get into it. All right, man, let's kick it off, man. Unfortunately, my Missouri Tigers went down to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama's quarterback Ty Simpson went 23-31 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He included the go-ahead score late in the fourth quarter to Daniel Hill with about 3:16 remaining. They also converted 2 crucial fourth downs on 4th and 8 and in 4th and goal. Mizzou mounted a late rally. Quarterback Bo Perbila hit Donovan for a touchdown with a minute 39. They also recovered the onside kick with a minute 17, but on the final drive, after a successful fourth down catch to get it to the middle of the field, Perbila, he overthrew the receiver and was intercepted with 37 seconds left. He did have a wide receiver wide open to the left, Marquise Johnson. If he had hit him, he might have been hitting his head on the goalpost and we'd be having a different conversation, or they would have been in field goal range to tie the game up. But unfortunately, he missed him. And Missouri fell to Alabama. Shout out to Alabama. It was some early mess ups in this game from Missouri. They had on their first drive, they went right down the field and got a little momentum going. But then they had Alabama 3rd and 15, and they got a stop, and then Zion Johnson, the defensive lineman, he had a dumb penalty, a taunting penalty, and that kept that drive going. You know what I'm saying? And it was just undisciplined stuff that was going on in that first drive, with Alabama's first offensive drive, and it just kind of sparked from there. And then it just seems like they couldn't get no momentum going. But they did start second half. They got a little bit better in the fourth quarter. Like I said, they got a little bit more stuff going on, but. Just got to go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? They still ranked the 16th in the nation still. So they got some games coming up that they can get back on track. They still got Vanderbilt. They still got Texas A&M. So they can still turn this thing around and possibly try to get into the the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I thought Alabama really one of the keys of the game is just controlling this dynamic running attack that Missouri had. Like, Ahmad Hardy, he didn't get much going on. He almost had a fumble one part of the game, but it rolled out of bounds. 2 bad turnovers in the fourth quarter where Missouri still had a chance to come and get some wins. They were down like 2017 when they threw one of the interceptions. I just think it's a real learning experience for this Missouri team. You know what I mean? I think they're not out of making a playoff at all. I think they still have a really good shot. You could tell just by how far they dropped. They didn't drop that much. You know what I mean? I think this committee still has a lot of respect for this Missouri team. They have a lot of opportunities to rewrite their wrongs. It was a game that they could have won. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for a couple bad turnovers and some sloppy play here and there, and obviously some mental mistakes with some of the dumb penalties that they had. It's a great learning experience for them. So I think Missouri fans, I know it's probably a disappointing loss, but I think Alabama is a really good team. I don't think they're invulnerable by any state. I don't think any team in college football is invulnerable, even Ohio State or Miami. I think both of those teams could still get beat. But I think Missouri has a great shot of making the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. You know what I mean? They got some big games as you stated. I think they're at Auburn, who played a really good game. Then obviously they got Vando and Texas A&M back to back after that, and then obviously Oklahoma towards the end of the year. So I think if they can get 2 of those ranked wins, I think they have a great shot of making the playoff.
For sure. Ohio State beat Illinois 34-16. Ohio State jumped ahead early, leading 20-3 at halftime. The Buckeyes defense was decisive. They forced 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 1 interception that directly led to 21 points. Jalen Sam went 19 to 27 for 166 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. CJ Danielson added 2 rushing touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith had 5 catches, 42 yards and a touchdown. Illinois quarterback Luke Atmeyer threw for 248 yards, a touchdown, but he had an interception. The running back ran for 50 yards and had scored a touchdown himself. It was just, they just outmatched, man. It was just Ohio State's the best team in the nation right now up there in Miami. And Illinois just didn't have enough to withstand their defense and too many turnovers. You give Ohio State too many chances to score, they're gonna get you. So shout out to Ohio State for handling business and doing their thing.
Yeah, man, Ohio State offensively, like they still leave a lot to be desired. Obviously, they have talent on this team, but this defense is amazing. This defense is good. It's really good. But when you look at this Ohio State schedule, it's really not that bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Penn State game we thought was going to be a better game. That game looks completely like a dud. Maybe that UCLA game might be looking a little different now. The way UCLA has been looking, maybe it'll look a little bit different. And then obviously they got to go at Michigan, will always be tough, but. Man, their schedule ain't that really hard. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Illinois has proven. I try to give them a little bit more credit, because I know a lot of people kind of discounted them, especially after that embarrassing loss they had with Indiana at home. I thought they would have put up a little better effort, but obviously that didn't happen. I just think it proves that Illinois is kind of like that tier team that is looking right outside of making the playoffs. Like, I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs or be competitive in the playoffs, but they're that team like that's right out there that, maybe if they could add, get a little bit better on the NIL side, that this team could be something. They could be the Indiana of what they thought they could be. But overall, Ohio State is one of the top 3 teams in this nation, and they prove it. Not so much on the offensive side, but that defense alone. But again, you expect that their quarterback Sam will obviously get better as the year goes on. So I think that can only spell great things for Ohio State moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Indiana beat Oregon 30-20. Indiana's Fernando Mendoza threw for 215 yards. He had delivered a pivotal 8-yard touchdown pass to Elijah Syrat with 6 minutes and 23 seconds left in the fourth to take the lead. Oregon's quarterback Dante Moore passed for 186 yards and a touchdown, but had 2 interceptions and was sacked 6 times, which hurt their momentum. Indiana's running back Roman Hemby scored 2 rushing touchdowns in the first and third quarter. In the fourth quarter, Oregon tied the game 20-20 via pick 6. Brandon Finley intercepted Mendoza and returned it 35 yards. Indiana responded immediately on the ensuing drive. They marched down the field and regained the lead via Mendoza's Syed touchdown. With 2 minutes left, Indiana's kicker Brandon Frankie hit a 22-yard field goal to make it 2-score game. Oregon's final attempt responded ended in another interception, putting the game away. How are you feeling, sir?
Overall, Indiana, very impressive. That defense looked really amazing. Some of the guys on that offensive side looked really good. It seems like we're heading towards a Big Ten championship of Ohio State versus Indiana, because obviously these two do not play each other. But yeah, I was truly impressed. Obviously, it helped Fernando Mendoza as far as like Heisman, and obviously with his draft stock, with just the way he played going into Oregon. As far as Oregon go, Dante Moore, he had 2 bad picks, but overall, this Oregon team, it's not bad. It was a tough loss, especially at home, but I still think they have a great shot of making the championship game. Their next ranked opponent is going to be USC. And obviously we all know the kind of the rivalry they had, especially in the past with USC and Oregon. That should be huge. But overall, I think Oregon, they'll be fine. You know what I mean? I think they have some young guys on this team that will learn from this, Dante Moore especially, and I expect them to be better. So I'm not worried with it. I think both of these teams are going to be in the playoffs once it's all said and done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Red River rivalry with Texas and Oklahoma. Texas ended up winning 23-6. Texas quarterback Arch Manning completed 21 of 27 passes for 166 yards and a touchdown. His touchdown was a 12-yard pass to DeAndre Moore Jr. coming off the opening drive of the second half. A pivotal play was Ryan Nibbles' return punt, 75 yards for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, pushing Texas' lead further. Oklahoma failed to reach the end zone. Their points came from 2 field goals by Tate Sandell. Texas defense was dominant. They limited Oklahoma just 258 total yards and forced 3 interceptions at Oklahoma quarterback John Mater. So that was the name, John Mater. He made his return, and he didn't have a really good showing in this showing. Texas defense was really what won this game, and then that punt return was really just sealed the deal and shut the door on Oklahoma. But it was a good win for Texas. They needed it after what happened to them last week. So this, you win the Red River rivalry. That's worth probably 5 wins in their book. So shout out to Texas for getting that W.
Yeah, honestly, if Texas would have lost this, I think Sarkisian might have been alongside James Franklin if they would have lost this game. But I think with Oklahoma, though, I think you got to commend Mater for even trying to play in this game. I wasn't really expecting him to play. I was pretty surprised. You could just tell he was just rusty overall. You just tell him not playing these last couple weeks, and then him trying to play in there was just really commendable. At the end of the day, it was just a couple plays here and there that Oklahoma probably could have won this game. I think if Mater was healthy and was playing all these weeks, I think this game is a totally different story. Yeah. Obviously, Arch Manning, he's still learning as he's going. It seems like he is getting a little bit better as the weeks go on. His defense played really good. His Texas defense played really good. I just really took it as just, Mater was just rusty. You know what I mean? I still expect Oklahoma to be really good. I expect once Mater gets his rhythm and starts getting healthier with that hand, I think Oklahoma will be fine. I think Oklahoma still has a great shot of winning the national championship, and I don't think they have anything to hold their heads over. I think it was more so that this is a great win for Sarkisian to keep his job, because if they lost this game, I really believe that Sarkisian would have been next with James Franklin finding a new job.
Yeah, for sure. USC beat Michigan 31-13. USC jumped ahead early. They scored on a 2-yard pass from Maivia to Jacoby Lane in the first quarter. Michigan responded in the second quarter with an 8-yard touchdown pass from Underwood to Donovan McCulley to tie the game 7-7. But just before half, USC struck again as Maivia hit Makai Lemon on a 12-yard pass with 14 seconds left in the half to take a 14-7 lead. In the third quarter, USC extended the lead via a 15-yard run by King Miller. Michigan tried to fight back. Underwood connected with Andrew Marsh on a 69-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter, but USC sealed it with a 29-yard touchdown run by Brian Jackson later in the fourth. Michigan also struggled in the trenches, lost the turnover battle, 2 interceptions. USC run game was a big difference. They amassed 224 rushing yards, dominating Michigan on the ground. I know you picked USC, so USC looks like their defense is really what's surprising this year. Is finally Lincoln Riley might have finally figured it out and got a defense this year, because that was always the talk. It was never the talk about his offense. We all knew that he can get the best out of a quarterback and score 1,000,000 points. Problem was he was giving up 1,000,000 points. So yeah, it looks like their defense is actually solid this year. And USC, if they could continue on this track, this can be a dark horse team that can make some noise.
Yeah, USC looks really good. They got a tough opponent coming up, man. They got Notre Dame. And they're at Notre Dame. If they can go into Notre Dame and win that game, I ain't gonna lie, man. USC might be my sleeper, dog. USC might be my sleeper, dog. I love this team. I love the way this team looks, man. I'm super excited. I think USC being good in college football is a great thing for college football. There's just certain teams where I think it just makes college football way more exciting, like my Gators, which, that's another story for another day. But anyways, like USC being good is amazing. Obviously, they have a tough schedule. Obviously, they're at Notre Dame, then they got to go at Nebraska, and then they got to go at Oregon. And then obviously they got to finish with UCLA, who have been looking amazing these last 2 weeks. Man, if USC can find a way to only get one loss out of these last 5-6 games, I think USC has a great shot of making the playoffs. I think they could be a real sleeper. If they could win out, that'd be even more amazing. But hey, man, I think the quarterback for USC, I think he should be talked about a little bit more about the Heisman. I think the Heisman is up for grabs. I think he could be in that conversation, especially if he can go on the road and win a big game at Notre Dame, which I'm very, very excited to watch this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Georgia beat Auburn 20-10. Auburn jumped out on the 10-0 lead in the first half, putting Georgia in an early hole. Late in the second quarter, with Auburn poised to add another touchdown, Georgia forced a goal line fumble by Auburn's quarterback Jackson Arnold. Linebacker C.J. Allen knocked the ball loose, and Georgia recovered, serving momentum. Georgia capitalized on that turnover by getting a field goal before half, making it 10-3 at the break. In the second half, Georgia began to take control with better execution on offense and defense, slowly chipping away at Auburn's lead. With 1 minute and 53 seconds left in the game, Georgia's Gunnar Stockton scored on a 10-yard rushing touchdown, putting the Bulldogs ahead for good. Auburn's final efforts to respond stalled. The offense couldn't overcome the deficit in the final stretch. Georgia's they're a good team. You know what I'm saying? They're one of the better teams out there, but they still some things and something missing.
They got bailed out with the refs. Refs
Did they?
on this game. Yeah, because there's a couple calls where Kirby literally called a timeout, and they for some reason the refs gave it back to him and stuff like that. So there was a timeout they should not have had. Yeah, it was crazy. And then there was also a couple calls going into the end of the half where I think Georgia got a lot of calls that I don't think should have went their way. I think Auburn could have won this game, but I think the refs did help out Georgia a lot. I agree with you, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I totally agree with you. I think that Georgia has a lot to prove to me. I'm not just going to go based on their name. Obviously, they got a huge game going up against Ole Miss, and that Ole Miss quarterback is looking really good. I think he also should be talked about as being one of the Heisman favorites going into this week, but it's going to be a huge game. Now, I low-key like Ole Miss going up against Georgia. I know we could talk about that Wednesday, but that's one of my early picks. I love Ole Miss going up against Georgia.
For sure. Colorado upset Iowa State. Quarterback QB Kadar Salter threw for 255 yards and had 2 passing touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown with a big 70-yard. The one Salter's touchdown was a big 70-yard strike to Amarion Miller, which flipped momentum in the game. On the Cyclone side, Abu Samu was a workhorse. He rushed 24 times for 177 yards and scored 2 short rushing touchdowns. Iowa State actually outgained Colorado 441 to 395, but they couldn't convert enough on the opportunities into points. Colorado's defense made crucial plays late in the game. In the fourth quarter, they intercepted an Iowa State pass, and then later Iowa State forced a 4th and 1 on the inside on 20. Were stuffed. Colorado forced a turnover on downs. That allowed Colorado to control the closing drive, and Iowa State was unable to mount a late comeback. This was a big win for Colorado. They definitely needed this. There was already some looming talks about, Deion Sanders and his health, and just how this team is operating. Questions about their quarterback situation with Kadar Salter. He's kind of inconsistent. 1 minute he looks like how he looked week before, and then he looks like how he looks this week. So this was a great win for them. Hopefully they can build on this. They beat a ranked team. I think Iowa State was like 22 in the nation. So to beat a ranked team, that lets you know that they have the capabilities to make some noise. They just got to be more consistent with their play, and they got good play out of their running backs this week too.
Amazing win for Colorado. I'm happy for this program. Obviously, coming off a week where Deion had to get surgery for his blood clots, it's good to see him on the sidelines, and it seemed like he was in good spirits. Overall, man, Colorado hasn't really been a bad team. Obviously, I feel like even the losses they've been in, a lot of the games, BYU, they're in that game. I think a little bit part of the TCU game until they broke that open, they're in the game. I think minus the Houston game, I think that was the only one that they looked like they really got dominated in. But for the most part, I feel like Colorado's been in it. I just think that with a young quarterback, he has a lot to learn. It seems like he is getting better. They had the whole thing where they were kind of going back and forth with quarterbacks, and we all know the motto: you have more than one quarterback that you're trying to use, it's just never a really good thing. I think they're finally starting to show more confidence in him, and I think that's a really good thing. It shows just a concentration of just solidifying what this roster can be. And then obviously, going into next year, they add a little bit more depth. Deion, focusing on his health. Hopefully he gets a little bit more healthier. And that could be one of the back things on the back burner. Hopefully this Colorado program can go to the heights of what we assume this team could be under Deion. So great win. I'm excited for them. They got a big matchup coming up, I guess, with Utah. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. Pitt beat Florida State 34-31. Pitt opened up scoring with a 10-yard run by Jaquarian Turner on a 15-play drive. Florida State answered with a 1-yard run by Kazarian Holmes late in the quarter to tie it up 7-7. Pitt regained the lead as Mason Herschel connected with Desmond Reed on the 24-yard touchdown pass. FSU responded with a 33-yard touchdown pass from Tommy Castellano to Michael Danzy to tie the game. Just before halftime, FSU took the lead on the 25-yard pass from Castellano to Landon Thomas. Pitt hit back. Henshaw found Reed again for a 16-yard touchdown pass to tie the game. FSU added a field goal to make it 24-21. Pitt tied it up with a 28-yard field goal by Trey Bowski. They then pushed ahead with a 35-yard touchdown goal on their next possession. With about 2:28 left, Turner scored on a 3-yard run to extend the lead to 34-24. FSU quickly responded with a 50-yard touchdown pass from Castellano to Danzy, but FSU onside kick attempt failed, and Pitt held on to the win. It hasn't looked too good from FSU. They've been on the down tick, and it's not. I don't know if this is gonna bode well for their coach. So Norvell, he might be out. So this is 2 back-to-back years. They started off so strong. They looked like they was a strong team, but then they lose a big game to Virginia, and now they're starting to mount up these losses. So how are you feeling about FSU?
First off, great win by Pitt, great road win on Pitt, and I love those jerseys. Those are some of my favorite jerseys in college football. I love those yellow and blue jerseys. But get to Florida State, man. What a fall off! What a fall off! Coming from what we thought what they looked like against Alabama in the first 3 games, that Virginia game just took a lot out of them. It seemed like it took all the confidence out of them, and I do believe Mike Norvell's days are numbered, especially with some of the big names that could potentially be out there for head coaching jobs. And then they can also even look into Dion as well. So I think these are I think Florida State and Florida might be one of the 2 big teams that could look into getting a James Franklin, because no matter what you may say about James Franklin and Penn State, he is a great recruiter. And then to have him in one of those programs, I think both schools will be delighted to have a James Franklin there. So yeah, what a fall from grace, man. And it just doesn't look like it's going to get any better. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all for Florida State. They're out of the whole playoff hunt. So,
Texas A&M beat your Florida Gators 34-17. Florida A&M traded blows early. It was 14-14 in the first quarter. Texas A&M then pulled away by outscoring Florida 20-3 over the remaining 3 quarters. Marcel Reed had a solid game, 234 in the passing touchdown, and he ran one in. The Aggies' ground game featured Reuben Owens II scoring a 2-yard touchdown late, about 4 minutes, 39 seconds remaining to extend the lead to 31-17. Legway had 245 yards and 2 touchdowns. Florida had a promising drive in the fourth quarter, down 24-17, where they went for it on the 4th and 6 from A&M's 29. The pass was incomplete, giving A&M possession. A&M's defense was stout, especially on third downs. Florida only converted 1 out of 10 third downs, and Florida was also hampered by a fumble in the third quarter, recovered by A&M, leading to a field goal. How are you feeling, sir?
Look, I hate to say this. As a Florida Gator fan, you never want to say this about your team, but I ain't gonna lie. I was a little worried we were going to win this game, because my whole goal is to get my man Billy Napier off my team. I need this man off my team, because there's going to be coaches that we could try to go get. A James Franklin, a Deion Sanders, a Dan Mullen. I don't care. Anybody's better than Billy Napier, and this team deserves so much better. This fan base deserves so much better. And I was a little worried. And I told Chris on Wednesday, this will be the game where we should lose, but we're going to find a way to win. And in the first quarter, lo and behold, we're up 7-0 real quick. I was like, here we go. Here we go. But, everything came back to in God's hands, and he made everything correct, and we lost that game. So, to me, I hate to say it, I never want to see my team lose, but I think as Florida Gator fans, we don't want Billy Napier to win these meaningless games, because we're out of a playoff shot. We're out of winning the SEC title. We're not going anywhere. We need a new direction for this team. There is no point for us to win these meaningless games. I hate to say it, but get Billy Napier out here, and the more losses we have, the easier the decision is for this AD to hopefully finally have the balls to get rid of Billy Napier. There's no point in keeping him. Get rid of him. There's too many great head coaches out there that you could potentially get. You have the money to get it. Get this football program back to where it needs to be, respectable and national title contenders, because that's what we'll be known for, and that's where we need to go back to being. So, yes, I'm happy that we lost, and I hate to say it, but that is the reality of the situation.
For sure. That does it for our college football recap. All right, man. Let's do our BetUS Surefire Picks.
So,
what you got,
man? So it's a great Monday, man, for sports, man. We got 2 football games. We got 2 big championship games in baseball, man. The game last night was really good between the Mariners and Blue Jays. That was a really good game. I watched that. I think this baseball playoffs has been really good. So first up, I got the Falcons plus 3.5 against the Bills. I low-key like the Falcons a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. This Bill defense doesn't really do a lot for me. Now, again, this Falcons team could disappoint you. Like, this offense could really disappoint you. Michael Penix can throw like 2 picks. And then, it could look all bad. This offensive line could be bad. But I think the way this offense can play, I think they're going to give the Bills some fits a little bit. I do like them scoring a lot. Obviously, Josh Allen could be Josh Allen and be Superman and win this game. I think that's still a probability. But I'm going to take the Falcons plus 3.5 against the Bills. I do like that. I like the Bears plus 5.5 against the Commanders, only because the Commanders are missing a lot of players, man. They're missing a lot of offensive players. I don't know if Debo's even going to be playing. Hopefully he does for my fantasy purposes.
They said he ain't playing.
All right, well, good, because I'm about to go on Wednesday. I might go on a rant about fantasy football, and I might retire from fantasy football because it's ridiculous.
It's crazy because the one league that you don't care about because you ain't getting no money, you're in the top 4.
Yeah. Like the Alibi League, oh my God, I'm so over that fucking league. I'm so over Alibi League. I can't even deal with it. But anyways, let me keep going. So I got the Bears plus 5.5 against the Commanders. I do like that. I think the Commanders could still win, but I do like the Bears covering that spread. I got the Dodgers minus 1.5 against the Brewers. I just think the Dodgers are the better team over against. I think the Brewers are a really good team, but I just think the Dodgers, they're so top heavy. They're so loaded. I just like the Dodgers. And then I think the Blue Jays get their bounce back against the Mariners. I thought that was a really good game. It could have went either way. But I'm gonna take the Blue Jays minus 1.5 tonight.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Bears. I got the Falcons plus 3 against the Bills. I do think even if they lose, I don't think that it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a close game. It could be by 3, and so you would get a push if you put on the Bills, or you cover. So, and you're right. Michael Penix can go ahead and throw 2 interceptions, and we all wrong. But I don't think it's gonna come down to that. I think Bijan Robinson gonna run all over them, and they're gonna use them and use that play action pass, and they're gonna limit how many times Michael Penix got to throw. And I expect a Josh Allen interception. Put it in your archives. Josh Allen interception.
I like Kyle Pitts touchdown too. I think it gets touchdown too.
And then I'm with you. Bears plus 5.5, and I'm taking the over. I think this is gonna be a shootout, dog, because I don't believe in neither one of their defenses. What's the name? Defense is dealing with injuries in their secondary with the Bears, and then the Commanders secondary is terrible.
Yeah, so, even with Marshawn Lattimore,
he's terrible. He's washed. He sucks right now. He's gonna get cooked tonight. So I think this is gonna be a shootout, and I think whoever has the ball last is gonna win this game. That's how I feel. So if you look at the screen. If you look at the screen, you'll see the QR code for the BetUS website. This is first-time users only. You put the promo code in, join 125. You get 125% sign-in bonus, plus 10% gamblers insurance. That's 3 risk-free bets on the first 3 deposits on $100 up to $5,000. So if Mal signs up, puts in $100 on his first 3 deposits, and he loses on those first 3 bets, he keeps his money. He does it because it's 3 risk-free bets. So he can go in there and win some money, or he can keep his money on his first 3 deposits. Now, after that, it's on you. You lose your money after that. So go over there, sign up, tell him Cris Style Mal. And that does it for our BetUS Surefire Picks. All right, man. Let's do our NFL rundown, Week 6 rundown. Now, as you know, people, we doing something different. We ask questions. I'll ask some questions of each team in each game, and the Mal will give me a response.
He probably did that so he could remind me so I don't talk. He didn't do that for y'all. He did that shit for me.
I did it for everybody.
You ain't got a lie, Craig. You ain't got the lie.
So Thursday night football, we have the Giants beating the Eagles 34-17. Nobody saw that coming. So I asked Mal, with the Giants, can the Giants be a wild card team?
I don't know. I feel like they're missing like at least if they have Malik Neighbors, I might feel a little bit more confident. Maybe they might be in a trade. I heard they might be in the trade market for a wide receiver. I think if they could get like a decent receiver, if they could get like a Chris Olave or somebody like that, I would like that because I love Cam Scatterboo and the Tracy Jr. Cam Scatterboo has proved a lot to me. I didn't think Cam Scatterboo. I knew Cam Scatterboo could be good in some facets of the game, but I didn't think he would be like an every down back. He looks like the complete package.
That brother got about 3 good years.
Yeah, no. My man, like you got to use him up because I don't know how long my man's gonna be.
I'm making up every time, shaking his head.
Shaking his head. I don't know what's up, but Jackson Dart has looked really good. Obviously, you would love to see him throw the ball a little bit more and not put his body in danger so much. Like that could be one of the things that could scare you a little bit. Like he's already been dinged up here and there like that, but this defense has played opportunistic and all that. And but yeah, if they can get a trade for a receiver, I think I'll give them better odds.
With the Eagles, is it Jalen Hurts or is it the OC?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like Jalen Hurts missed a couple big throws, one to Devontae Smith. I think AJ Brown was wide open. You can kind of see the frustration on both of their faces. Saquon Barkley still hasn't had like that big game. Maybe, obviously they've had some injuries on that old line. A couple of their guys, one of the guys, obviously, retires and all that. Like, so I've been a lot of changes on that offensive line. But you can kind of tell, man. I don't know if it's kind of like this Eagles team goes through they've been going through the same story the last couple years. One year they did it and then everything just kind of fell flat in their face. They ended the year bad. They made the playoffs and then they just got boatloaded by the goddamn Bucks and it just wasn't the same. And then last year they kind of went through their ups and downs, but then they were able to hit the switch and then, everything was fine and then go on to win the Super Bowl. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens. I low-key think this is the last year for AJ Brown. I think it's the more talk of conversation of him being traded this offseason is becoming more and more likely. It's just going to be interesting to kind of tell to see which direction that they go. We've seen them go both directions these last couple of years. And time will tell, man. But they got to figure out that Saquon Barkley and try to get him more involved in this offense. And Jalen Hurts has to throw the ball a little bit more confident for me. For this team to actually have a legit chance, because at the end of the day, they're fully loaded. You know what I mean? And obviously, they didn't have a couple of their cornerbacks, I think, in the game. I think Quinton Mitchell didn't play or something like that. But overall, man, I think they'll be fine, but it's going to be interesting to see which way they go.
I just know Dory Jackson was continuously getting cooked. So
Yeah.
In the early morning London game, one of the worst games probably so far this season. This is probably the worst games ever.
Yeah.
Long time. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Broncos beat the Jets 13-11. I asked the question with the Broncos: how long can this defense carry this offense?
As long as they stay healthy, you know what I mean. If they stay healthy, I think this Broncos defense can carry this offense because we see that the offense can have some explosion. Obviously, it didn't look good, but I've stated before, these London overseas games are just weird. I even stated that I wouldn't have been surprised if the Jets would have won this game. But overall, look, shout out to the homie who went to the game. Shout out to my boy Rich. He went to the game. It seemed like he enjoyed it out there. They got the dub. That's all that matters. It was ugly, but they got the win. And they got out of there healthy. Like J.K. Dobbins didn't get hurt. Bo Nix didn't get hurt. Patrick Surtain didn't get hurt. It was a great game, physical game on the defensive side. And they were able to come out with the win. So that's all that matters.
And then the Jets. Should the Jets start Tyrod Taylor?
Yes. Justin Fields sucks. I hate to say it, but I've been saying it before. Like, he's ultra talented as far as like athletic ability, but he cannot throw the ball. You see the indecision. He almost got Garrett Wilson killed on that last drive like 3 times. Like, I think Garrett Wilson needs to be free. Free that man. Free Breece Hall. Like, this team is terrible. Defensively, they looked good though. Like they were able to keep Bo Nix in check. They were able to keep that offense in check. So we'll see. Do I think homie should get fired? No. I think he should get at least another year or two. Give him a chance to rebuild this team coming off of what they had to go through these last couple of years. But overall, yeah, Justin Fields is over. I don't understand why he got so upset when the reporter asked him that question of if they should bench Justin Fields. It's time. It's time, my brother. You're going to lose this team. You're going to lose this offense, especially if you continue to put Justin Fields on that field, because he's not good at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Chargers beat the Dolphins 29-27. I ask you, with the Chargers, is Justin Herbert an MVP candidate?
He could be in the conversations. I wouldn't put him in as the lead. He could definitely be in the conversation, though, just with what the Chargers have been dealing with these injuries and stuff like that. He looked good. Ladd McConkey finally had a breakout game. He looked really amazing. He had like he had the biggest catch of the game that really gave him the opportunity to get the 3 points to win the game. So obviously with Vidal, he had a really good game, coming supporting Marion Hampton, with his ankle injury being out for the next month. Yeah. I'm not mad at it, but I wouldn't have him as a favorite though.
And as far as the Dolphins go, who does Tua think he is?
I don't know, man. Honestly, Tua, 3 bad interceptions. Like, Devon Achane really kept them in this game. He looked really good, but Tua is just, they got to. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I don't know how that contract looks going into the next couple years, but he's not the future of this squad. But you got to give Mike McDaniel some credit. This team is still playing hard. You know what I mean? They're still playing hard. They're still in some of these games. They could have won this game, but yeah, Tua's not good, man. They need to figure that out.
The Patriots beat the Saints 25-19, and the Patriots are rolling right now. Are the Patriots a threat in the AFC?
Yes, they are. Drake May is obviously, he could also be in the conversation for maybe early MVP contenders. But when you pair him up with some of the offensive pieces that they have, I think they still have the capabilities of trading for another elite receiver. Maybe they could be in the Jacoby Myers sweepstakes or something like that, or somebody else. And with this defense, man, it could be scary times, man. I think they could compete for this division. I don't think Buffalo has it in lock, man. I think
they definitely don't.
I think New England can give them a run for their money, man. Drake May I've been truly impressed by Drake May. I think I've even said it going into this year that I still need to see more from Drake May. I think I've seen enough. I see the progression. I see the vision. Drake May has that. Drake May look good. I think he's been slinging it. He might be the best quarterback playing right now. As far as like just the way he overall is playing, he might be taking the cake right now a little bit.
And is it time for the Saints to start trading for assets?
Yes. This team is not going anywhere. Respectable to Spencer Rattler. He's played exceptionally well. But the New Orleans Saints are 1-5. I don't understand if they were like 500 right now. You still have an opportunity, because it's not like the Saints have been getting blown out. No. It's not like they've looked bad. Like I think they've been respectable in a lot of games. And I think Spencer Rattler has grown week by week. I think it should make Saints fans a little bit more comfortable if they decide to grow with him into the future. At least give him another year or something like that. But especially the way this QB draft class is looking, like the way it's playing out, it might be best just to give Spencer Rattler another year. But I don't see why not. Like you're building for the future. You're not building for the now. If you could trade Alvin Kamara and get some pieces, if you could trade a Chris Olave and get some pieces on that defensive side, do it now, because there are a lot of teams that can use some of the players that are on your team right now. You might be able to get some decent draft capital so you can actually build your team up the right way and look prominent in a couple years.
The Rams beat the Ravens 17-3. This wasn't the blowout that we thought it was going to be. The Ravens defense actually stepped up this week. But I ask you, with the Rams, can Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams get on pace, get on chemistry?
Well, they're going to have no choice if Puka can't play. You know what I mean? They're going to have no choice. But I think they can. I think both of those guys are very smart football players. Obviously, this is the first year Devontae Adams has played. with Matthew Stafford. This is probably the first time in the last couple years he's played with a real quarterback. So it might still be like a culture shock to him. Like, damn, I actually got a real quarterback telling me a real football. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I'm not surprised by the score though. I think like the Rams always have these kind of games where it seems like they should blow out teams, but then it's closer than what a lot of people think. I think they're one of those teams that kind of play up or play down to the competition that they have. But overall, yeah, I think Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams can have that kind of same chemistry that him and Puka has. Just give it some time. They'll be all right.
And can the Ravens build on this defensive showing?
I think they can. I think them coming off the bye week, I know they're 1-5. I know technically they do have the number 2 pick, which is insane. If they keep the number 2 pick and you got Lamar Jackson next year, like sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. But I think they still low key kind of have a shot to make, if they can, get on a cool little win streak. Like they got the Bears, they're at the Dolphins, they're at the Vikings, they're at the Browns, they got the Jets, the Bengals, and then they got the big game going into Steelers. If they can win those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 next 6 games, I think they'll be right back in. And I know it's saying a lot. Winning 6 games, I know that's a lot looking into the future. But I think it's a possibility. You're going to get Lamar Jackson back. This team is going to get healthier. That defensive side is probably going to get healthier. Obviously, there are some players that are out for the entire year. But they got a shot, man. They this AFC ain't like daunting. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like the best AFC we've been in the last couple of years. It's gettable. It's gettable. So they have a shot.
The Cardinals lose to the Colts 27-31. It came down to the wire. This game was pretty actually entertaining. It was a shootout for sure. Yeah. But I asked you with the Cardinals, did the offense look better with Jacoby Brissett?
It's one game. We have seen this with Jacoby Brissett before. Like, he'll have that one game. It happens all the time. You put the backup in, they have a great game, then the next week they look like they should be fucking backup quarterback. So I'm not gonna say that. Like, is this probably the best it's looked the last couple weeks? Yes, it has. But Marvin Harrison, he was out, got a concussion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Zay Jones, he looked really good. Jacoby Brissett, he did have a bad pick, but I was more disappointed. I know we're going to talk about the Colts, but I was probably say I'll be more disappointed in the Colts defense than anything else compared to what the Cardinals. I expected more from the Colts defense, but
the tight end in the pregame of the workouts. What the hell was you doing, man? Taking out Javarius Ward with a concussion.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson got hurt in pregame too, which is hilarious.
But that video, that looked like it was some like Ventrell that you had.
No, I didn't see what happened. What happened?
So they were running, they do the little pregame drills, and Javarius Ward was running like he was like running like the pass was coming, and when he ran, the tight end came out of nowhere and just like ran into him.
Oh shit!
Knocked his ass out.
I'm sure he will get a stern talking to from the head coach because honestly, like low key, like if I was a head coach, he would definitely get a strong talking to and maybe even a demotion of a sense. Like if you were a backup, you're on third string or practice squad right now, and you're gonna have to work your way back up. But it's crazy.
Literally knocked him out, bro.
Yeah, I didn't see the video, but the way you're describing it, that's
when I saw the video, I was like, did he have issues with him?
I don't know. Maybe something happened during practice, but either way, that's your teammate. You don't do that, especially a pregame of a game that it could have cost you. It could have cost you a game, which it almost did. It almost did because that defense should have played a lot better against an offense like that with some of the pieces that were out. So.
And then with the Colts, are the Colts the top team in the AFC?
Yeah, I think can't say anything but, you know what I mean? They're 5-1, they're 4-0 at home. They beat the Broncos. You know what I mean? Obviously, that was probably their biggest win. They lost to the Rams only by 7. They could have won that game. Obviously, their schedule has been pretty weak. Obviously, they do got a big game at the Chargers, then they're at the Steelers, and obviously at the Chiefs. Their schedule does get a little bit harder as the season goes on, so we'll get a true definition to see how good this team can really be. But overall, you have to just by who they played and what's been able to happen. But we'll get a true sense of this team in the next month or so.
The Browns lose to the Steelers 23-9. I just ask you, when does Shedeur Sanders start?
As soon as possible, because you're trying to tell me Dylan Gabriel is the answer. I don't see it. He's short. He can't see over the offensive line. He's trying to get his receivers killed out there every goddamn throw. He's just not good. But I think they're trying everything in their power to make sure that. And then I don't understand why he threw like over 50 times. Like that shit was crazy. Like you got Quinshon Judkins back there. If you're gonna at least put him in, at least help the young quarterback out. Like you weren't trying to. You were just. It seemed like you're trying to prove it right that he should have been the third overall pick. You know what I mean? Just every decision that this coaching staff has made has just been more of a head scratcher. And I know people keep putting Kevin Stefanski as this brilliant coach, and they keep living off his coach of the years, which was years ago. You act like it was like fucking last year. Like they're still holding on to that. I don't know what they're doing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And everything that they've done, it's just been more of a detriment to this team than anything else. And honestly, I don't want to hear Myles Garrett complain either, because brother, you signed that contract and you had the opportunity to.
Brother, you put out a whole soliloquy about how you was ready to leave the Browns.
It wasn't even about the money too, but you know what?
You was done. You was ready to get traded. You said goodbye and everything.
Yep.
And then next thing I know it, Myles Garrett gets the highest paid contract.
Right. And now you want to complain because you keep losing the same. Nah, brother. It don't work like that, brother. It don't. But
don't feel sorry for you play.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Do we need to start taking the Steelers serious?
I've always said that. It's just to me. I've been said that if you can give them a solidified running game, I think this Pittsburgh Steelers team can beat anybody. Like Aaron Rodgers has looked decent for his age. Like this team has looked mad respectable. They're 4-1 right now. If you look at their schedule, you know what I mean. Like they beat the Patriots, who I think at that time weren't playing as good, and then they beat the Vikings and all that, but. You know, their schedule, again, same team. It's gonna get a little tougher. They got the Packers coming up soon. They got the Colts. They're at the Chargers. They got the Bills, the Ravens. When they're healthier, they're at the Lions, and then they finish off with the Ravens. So we'll see. But again, I think they need to be one of the teams that need to look for adding a running back to their squad. I think Alvin Kamara could be a huge plus for this team, or maybe even they can look into a Breece Hall or maybe some other running backs that could be available.
Yeah, because Alvin said he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
The Seahawks beat the Jaguars 20-12. I gotta ask you, is JSN a top 5 receiver this year?
Yeah, absolutely. JSN finished the year being off probably one of the best receivers in the league. Yeah, JSN is easily top 5, man. I think he is. We see the explosion. We see the consistency that he has. He's a highlight reel. You know, 8 receptions for 162 yards, 1 TD. He averaged 20.3 yards per catch. Like, how can you not say he's not top 5 at this point?
I agree. Every time I look up, dude catching the touchdown.
He's doing something. Yeah. Sure.
And what is the identity of this Jags team?
I'll say this. I think Trevor Lawrence has played better. I think he has played better these last couple weeks. Travis Etienne Jr. is slowing down. You can clearly see it. I think it's time you give Basul Tootin an actual chance to be the starter. We see the explosion that he has. I know he was dealing with some injuries, but I think it's time. I think Travis Etienne, you know, he had a great start to the year, but you can tell he's slowing down a little bit. It might be creeping up to him. He hasn't looked really good. It's good to see Brian Thomas Jr. actually getting the ball. It seemed like he's getting a rock, getting back forward, but I think it's time. I think it's time that they switch up the running back position and actually give Basul Tootin an actual chance to see if he could be the future running back of the team, because I think Travis Etienne had a great start of the year, but he's slowing down.
The Cowboys lose to the Panthers 30-27. I ask you, should the Cowboys trade for a defensive lineman?
They could. Would that fix their issues? I don't know. I think that defense has a lot more issues than just missing a defensive lineman. Even when they had Michael Parsons, they were pretty much had the same issues, the same problems. I think more so it's more on that back end side. The cornerbacks, like they have
Simmons, he's still out there.
Yeah, like they have some opportunistic guys, but it's just no consistency there. This offense is really good. You're gonna get CeeDee Lamb back here in the next couple weeks. Like Javonte Williams, I'm happy for him. That brother has been looking good. Jake Ferguson George Pickens looks amazing. Jake Ferguson looks like top 2 tight ends in the league right now, maybe even number 1 the way he's been playing. So offensively they have no issues, and they're only going to get better because the CeeDee Lamb's going to get back. Now, if they can make an impact, I just don't know who's going to be out there that could be that impactful for them. It's not like you're going to get another Michael Parsons. It's not like I don't think Max Crosby's getting traded. I don't think they would pay for that.
Just call the Bengals and get Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah, get Trey. Why not? Get Trey, because why not? Yeah, it's not like you got to pay him if you don't want to. You just trade him. I don't know what kind of what would he be, like a third right now?
Yeah.
Second, third, just based on the contract.
Third, maybe third. You might even be able to slip a fourth.
Maybe a fourth, you know what I mean? But they'll probably ask for a third. If it's a third, give them a third. Who cares at this point? Like you got the opportunity to especially the way this division is kind of looking right now, they have an opportunity to make some kind of noise. So yeah.
I would go get Trey Hendrickson and fuck it. Go sign Justin Simmons to help out in your back end.
Yeah, why not? He's available.
Yeah.
So, I know he's older, but he'll be all right.
And then the Panthers. Can the Panthers make the wild card?
I don't know, but out of all the weeks that Rico Dotto wants to go off, I gotta play this motherfucking fantasy, and it would be like, bro, come on, man, really, Rico? It gotta be the week I gotta play you in fucking fantasy. You get over 30 points. Like, come on, dog, this is ridiculous. But overall, man, can they? They can. I think this team is young. Bryce Young, he looked good. He had 3 TDs, 1 interception. Thank God they finally get Tet some love. Like, he didn't have the yardage, but he finally got the TDs.
Right.
One day he'll have both, where I think he has the opportunity to put up JSN numbers where he has 8 catches for 150 yards and 2-3 TDs. I think he has that opportunity. But you got Rico. He looked really good. And the defense is young. They have the opportunistic guys on there. They have a shot. I think it'll be tough because I think the NFC is just really, really hard to make that happen. But, with some of these injuries that have been happening this year, it's a possibility. I don't see why not. It depends on Bryce Young and if he's able to continue stacking up great weeks. If you can keep stacking good to great weeks, they have a shot.
Your Raiders beat the Titans 20-10.
Mm-hmm.
With the Titans, I got 2 question marks because I got nothing. They just fired the coach. Yeah. It's bad over there. They might have the first overall pick.
No, they will.
Proctor from the Alabama left tackle. Yeah, you about to get drafted, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You better be the new left tackle, and they're gonna switch Dan Moore over to the right.
Right. Yeah, we know what's gonna happen. At the end of the day, at this point, Cam Ward just survived the year, brother. Just survive the year, learn what you can.
And do not be surprised if Matt Nagy is the new head coach next year. Do not be surprised because Mike McGunzy, he was our assistant GM for the Chiefs, and usually they like to tend to run with they guys. So do not be surprised if Matt Nagy is the head coach next year.
Well, you heard it here first from Cris Style. So if that happens, remember that. Put us on the spotlight, make it happen. But if that happens, hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, as I said a couple seconds ago, Cam Ward just survive the year, brother. Learn what you can. I
feel sorry.
This is the opportunity to, if you gotta experiment on some stuff, that's cool. I think teams should call for Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard has looked pretty good. I think there's a lot of teams that probably could use Tony Pollard as well. They could be on the trade market as well. But overall, man, it's just we all know what's up. You know what's up. That just doesn't sound good to me. Like, nah, I think that'll be such a disservice for him. Yeah. I think there's just better names out there.
I agree. But please go over there. The 49ers lose to the Buccaneers 30.
Oh, let me say this about my Raiders. I know. You didn't ask me.
Oh, my bad. No, I did. I meant to ask that. Can the Raiders turn it around? My bad.
No, you're good. The answer is no. The answer is no. Answer is no. Don't the real question is look, man. Geno Smith still look like hot ass. Ashton Gentee's looking a lot better. We still not healthy. This team is not going to be good, man. Do we have a shot? I guess so, just because the AFC is not that good. The AFC West it's okay. The AFC West is okay. I know we're going to talk about your Chiefs here soon, but it's okay. The AFC is okay. Do we have a chance? Yeah, but do I see it? No, I don't. I really don't. I'm not a fan of Geno at all. I'm over Geno. Honestly, I don't know why we even asked the question. I should just let you go. There's just no point asking Raider questions right now.
I mean, you gotta ask it, man.
Yeah,
you might have a glimmer of hope now. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Defense look good.
It's the fucking Titans, man. Come on, dog. What are we talking about, man? That shit was like good. That shit was like on Ricky mode.
Their defensive line is not look bad this year.
Come on, man. That should have been the game where we won like 40, even with the injuries that we have on the offense and how bad our offense will look. Geno Smith could barely put up 20 points against the Titans, bro. Against the Titans, bro. Come on, what are we talking about?
I think the Titan defense gets a bad rap.
It doesn't matter, but we get so many opportunities on the offensive side because the Titans can't do shit. Yeah. We should be able to score at least 30-some points.
Free my man Jeffrey Simmons, man.
Come on, man. See, now that would be a great name for the Cowboys to try to go get. That would be a great name. That would be a great name for us to try to go get. You know what I'm saying? Like, man.
I wish we had some money. I'd tell the Chiefs go get his ass.
No, thanks.
The Buccaneers beat the 49ers 30-19. I asked you about the 49ers, man. Shout out to Fred Warner, man. That sucks, man. But
yeah,
can they overcome these injuries?
I don't think so, man, because it's a lot of their stars, especially on that defensive side. You already lost Bosa. And even with Bosa, you could still be like, we still got our leader and Fred Warner. Yeah. But with him being out, I don't.
You saw it too. They just look out of sorts. They look like they didn't know where to go.
And you could tell even in the press conferences, Trent Williams looked down. They all looked down. I even saw a beat reporter saying just the emotions in that locker room just was just so depressing. I don't see it, man. Like, if this team was healthy, the 49ers team, I think, could have had a strong case to make the Super Bowl if they would have stayed healthy. But this is just a bad year. I feel bad for the Niners team. I know Raiders and Niners, I know we have our rivalries in a sense, but I'm not from the Bay. I don't really consider a rivalry as much. I know it's more of a Bay area rivalry than anything else. But I feel bad for him, man. It's tough. It's tough being a Niners fan, seeing all these injuries from all your top players. But, you know, and then you don't even know when Brandon Ayuk's coming back, like Ricky Purcell dealing with his knee injuries, Brock Purdy dealing with turf toes and all this other stuff. It's just not a great year. Even though they've been respectable, I think it's time I think it's time that the Niners should start looking towards next year. Even though I know they won't, they're going to still play tough, but it's about that time.
And then as far as the Buccaneers, are they the scariest team in the NFC?
Yes. I do. I really do. You don't have Bucky Irvin. He'll come back, get healthier. Chris Godwin's going to get healthier. Mike Evans is going to come back. This defense is good. Baker Mayfield's probably your favorite to be MVP right now. He's the leader in MVP talk right now, easily. Yeah. I like the Buccaneers a lot. It seems like everything's going their way at this point.
Yeah, for sure. The Packers beat the Bengals 27-18. With the Bengals, should they trade T. Higgins?
Yeah, they should. They should trade T. Higgins and Trey Henderson. Those are two guys that should be off your team. You can get T. Higgins. You could probably easily get a 1. Trey, you could get a 3, 4, probably a 3. Yeah, do it. Why not? T. Higgins deserves to have a chance to be a star receiver. I don't know why he even signed that contract the way he did. And Bengals should start gearing up for next year because it's over. It's over. You know what I mean? There's no point in Joe Burrow coming back at all. So, and then Jamar Chase at this point, he should just be given a chance to just take an extended vacation. Give him a chance to just chill.
Oh, the hamstring hurt. You out for the season.
Man, you out for the year, bro. That's gonna happen soon. It's gonna happen, bro.
And with the Packers, was Michael Parsons worth it?
I understand the play, but again, I think this offense leaves a lot to be desired for me.
They need to got Matthew Golden involved this week. God damn it.
They did. You know, he had 3 catches for 86 yards. Josh Jacobs does Josh Jacobs things if he stays healthy. If Josh Jacobs goes down, this offense is bad. I don't think this offense is bad. I think this offense is not good. I don't know, man. This Packers team, Micah Parsons, you gave up a lot for Micah. Will it come out to be a Super Bowl? I don't know, but again, I say I've been saying the last couple weeks, I've not been impressed with this Packers team, and even then, like, I don't know, man. It's a lot to be desired from this team. I don't have much to say.
And then Sunday Night Football, my Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17. I ask you, will these injuries be the demise of the Lions?
You would hope not, because they went through this last year. It would suck if they went through it again this year. Luckily, these injuries haven't been year-long, season-ending injuries. They've been a lot of like just and like, you know, Arnold going through his knee. You know, he was able to tried to play, but you could tell he wasn't 100%. Branch dealing with the ankle injury, even though he out there trying to fight Juju Smith and shit.
Kobe Joseph. Let me just say this, man. You shoot him with steroids or something. The man he could barely walk on that knee.
He could barely walk. Then this motherfucker like doing walk. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
No, next thing I know it, he's hitting the shit out of Pacheco. Back on the field.
They definitely plugged him up with something. But overall, I think the Detroit Lions will be fine. Obviously, they dealing with some injuries and stuff like that. Some things didn't go their way. We can talk about some of the penalty calls, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it was just one of those games. It just wasn't their night. They'll be fine as long as they don't have season-ending injuries. Like, you're always going to have nicks and knacks, but if you got to send them out a couple games, they'll be fine. I think Detroit Lions are still one of the top teams in the NFC.
Yeah, look, their offense is still potent. They still got one. They got the best running attack in the league. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Lions. Defensively, they'll be fine. They'll get healthy.
They can make a trade too. I think they still have cap room where they can make a trade.
They can go out there and get a player on the
Simmons. Call Simmons. Call Trey Henderson.
Yes,
Henderson.
I would call
one of them.
What I mean? You need somebody next to Aiden
Hutchinson. Yeah, you pair him up.
They're scary.
They're scary as fuck. Like, I think this is the team. They're literally the true definition of one move away, and they can be favorites. They're really one move away, and I think they'll be. I think they got to be aggressive this trade deadline. They have to.
Definitely.
This is your time to shine, because especially the way everything's looking in the AFC and the NFC, 49ers being hurt, the Commanders being hurt, Packers, they're not really as dominant. The Eagles going through all their turmoil and they're on their side. The only team that should really be scaring you is the Bucks, but I think they match up really well against the Bucks. I think they've beaten them the last couple of times.
That's who we played next, I think.
So they play the Bucks, but I think they've had the Bucks' number the last couple of years. You know what I mean? So, so minus I think last year, but them losing. But at the end of the day, it should be interesting. But they need to be aggressive though and trade them.
And I ask you, will the lack of consistent pass rush be the demise of the Chiefs?
The inconsistency of pass rush, the inconsistency of the running game. Obviously, you are getting Rashee Rice back, so that does add a little bit more explosion to it. But Patrick Mahomes is still having trouble throwing the long ball. Like, I don't know. It hasn't really looked the same. Offensive line, I don't know how you feel about, obviously, Simmons was out, but then they added, what's my man's name on the left tackle?
Jalen Moore. I think.
He looked good. He looked really good. And then on top of that, I just don't think you guys are going to go another game without getting 0 penalties called against you. That was ridiculous. Come on, man. I saw like 8 penalties that didn't get called. But hey, sometimes shit goes your way. I know everybody's going to make bigger deals about it and shit like that, because I know it's the Chiefs and I know I would be a part of that, but I just don't think that's going to happen again. Do I think the NFL didn't want to see the Chiefs go down 2-4? I do believe that shit though. Just because let's be real. We talked about it. The AFC is dog water this year. If the Chiefs can't make the playoffs, that's the last thing the NFL wants, is not having the Chiefs and Bills in there and then not have Lamar. Like that would be insane, bro. That would be crazy. So yeah, I do think that. But yeah, I do think there are still a lot of holes that you guys have and some worries, but we'll see.
I'm not too concerned. I get you, man. We don't have a Alvin Kamara per se type that can break one for 70 yards. I get it, but I do think that these last 2 games, the running game was respectful. It was respectful enough to move the chains. That's what they were. And they're getting Brashard Smith a little bit more. My main concern with the Chiefs is this damn pass rush. Yes, did they make some plays in the fourth quarter when they needed it? Yes, they did. But I need some more consistency, because, man, I'm not going to lie. The biggest turn in this game was that Amon St. Brown drop.
Yeah, it was.
On that fourth down.
Huge. Yeah.
If he catches that ball, I think this game goes totally different. I think the momentum swings, and I think they march down the field and they score a touchdown. Yeah. I really do. I think that was a big swing in that game. Them dropping that pass right there.
I think it's hard to cut you off. I think another swing was that touchdown at the beginning where they called the illegal motion on Jared Goff, because it seemed right then and there. It just seemed like, oh, this might be one of those games where the Lions just might be their night.
Yeah. So it was just like they were, you know what I'm saying? And the Chiefs did good enough to get ahead on the scoreboard where the running game wasn't really, the Lions couldn't use the running game like they wanted to, because you could tell they was playing like on offense like, damn, we down so many defensive weapons on that back end. We ain't gonna be able to stop these dudes. We have to score. Like, that's how they was playing. We have to score. So, yeah, this pass rush, man, it gotta get better. It gotta get better, man. Because
who would you like to see them target on the trade deadline?
Oh, man, if we can get like a Cam Jordan, like veterans, just the dude that can come off the edge and just come at, you know what I'm saying, help Chris Jones out.
yeah.
On the
do you think Chris Jones' age is starting to show? Do you think he's slowing down?
Of course, he's gas.
Yeah.
Man, my man gas because they playing him like damn near 80% of the snaps.
Yeah.
My man out there.
Yeah.
Damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, God damn, you see the oxygen mask? It was the first quarter, my man. The oxygen mask on it. Yeah, man.
Right.
You got two defenders on you. That's 600 pounds of weight that you got to push off you consistently. Yeah. And none of you niggas can get a sack.
How many plays did your defense average
what you
a
mean?
Game? Like, how many plays like is defense on the field? Like, how many? Do you know how much they average a game?
I don't know, because it's different. It's different each game, man. You know what I'm saying? And with the offense playing a lot better now, you know what I'm saying? We're scoring a little bit better. I don't know. Mark probably have a better assessment on how many plays we on defense each. Probably like 8 to 10 plays, maybe.
You think, because I feel like, watching this game, it seemed like they reverted back to their dinking, dunking, running the ball. You know what I mean? It's kind of like not playing as fast paced. They're kind of like slowing it down, maybe to help their defense out a little bit. Maybe
they was trying to keep that offense off the field.
Well, that too. Yeah,
that's
too.
what it was.
That too.
They was trying to keep that offense.
But I feel like I was seeing that a little bit last week too, though. I feel like I was seeing that a little bit last week as well.
Yeah, but at least with the Jaguars, you could tell Mahomes was throwing it a little bit more down the field with Thornton and even Xavier Worthy. They was trying to throw it a little bit more. Whereas in this game, I think the game plan was keep this offense off the damn field. We can't just be striking so fast, because they can strike fast. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what that was. And then, like I said, I think they was trying to protect, because we know our pass rush ain't that good. It's just not. George Karlaftis has not shown up. We paid this brother $70 million. And I said in this season, hey, you getting paid now, brother, because I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have paid George Karlaftis. I'd have make your ass prove it. Show me that you can be a perennial pass rusher outside of just Chris Jones over here. You know what I'm saying? Because Chris Jones' days are numbered. You gonna be the guy.
Yeah, that's true.
You gonna be the man. And if you can't show it now, then man,
it's gonna be a struggle bus.
Bad. You know what I'm saying? And he's continuously. I'm so 62.7 defensive snaps per game. Damn.
I wonder what that average is. Is that number one in the league?
I don't know.
For most defensive.
Maybe that's the average. Maybe it's the average snaps. I don't know. But and I'm just sick and tired of seeing George Karlaftis do the same move. He bull rushes up the field, the quarterback steps up, and then he tries to work his way back to get him on effort. And that's why they love George Karlaftis, because he's good against the run and he's an effort guy. So he gets effort sacks. He's not a dude that's gonna hit you with a swim move or a spin move and get to your quarterback. He's not Aiden Hutchinson. He's not. Yeah. He's not TJ Watt. He's not that. So we got to figure out this pass rush. That's why at the trade deadline, I'm not really too much tripping about. If we get a running back, cool. I don't really be tripping about the running back. We need defensive linemen. We need a pass rusher.
Yeah, obviously, this is gonna be a depressing week for me, because we got to go up against y'all this week in Kansas City. So I'm not really looking forward to seeing what Geno Smith looks like going in Arrowhead. I don't think it's gonna be a good look. But we always do play y'all tough regardless. So I'm be curious to see what happens. You know what I mean? The motivation is always there, but I don't know, man. We'll see. I wish we had Brock Bowers and we were a little bit more healthier on that offensive side. But I'm be curious to see how Ashton Jeanty does against this Kansas City Chiefs defense and this offensive line. So
I think that's gonna be the game plan. They're gonna stack 8 in the box and try to stop Jeanty and make.
Yeah, I think for us, I know we're gonna talk about this more on Wednesday. I'll save it to Wednesday. I ain't gonna get too much into it. I'll save it to Wednesday.
All right, that does it for our rundown.
Mark, chill out, my brother. Like, look, We've been on good terms. We've been on good terms all year, brother. Let's not go there with the hefty bags. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. I've been very respectful of your Chiefs all year. Come on, show me some respect, my brother. Come on, man. We've been on good terms all year. Let's not do that. Peace and love, my brother. Come on, man.
The hefty bags. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, man. Who are your flowers of the week, man?
My flowers of the week go to I want to give my flowers to Giveon. I went to the concert. That show was amazing. That brother put on an amazing show. If you have not seen him or listen to his music, if you love R&B and stuff like that, please listen to him. He's good, really good. So I'll give him his flowers. And then I'm gonna also give flowers to Ennis, Boots Ennis, for an amazing win.
Oh, that's what we forgot to talk about. My bad.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, I forgot.
Mark, I know we need a quarterback, brother. I know we do. We desperately need a quarterback. We desperately. But for some reason, I feel like we're gonna end up getting Kyle Murray and shit. You know, same shit.
Yeah, let's talk about Boots Ennis real quick. I'm glad you brought him up because I forgot to put it on the docket. My fault. But he had an impressive win over Lima on Saturday. I forgot the dude's last name, but first round TKO. He came in there. Once he switched to southpaw, they had a little mix up. He hit him with an uppercut, staggered him, got him against the ropes, knocked him down, got back up, knocked him down again, then got him against the ropes. They stopped the fight, and he looked impressive. You could tell that 154 better suits him because Boots is one of the bigger. He was one of the bigger 147 guys. He looked naturally bigger, so I think he'll be better at 154. The power looks like it's still with him too. So I know Lima's not a name that's known, but he is a natural 154. He looks like a big dude. So this was a good showing for Boots. I want to see him and Virgil Ortiz, or if Lubin beats Virgil Ortiz, I'll see him and Lubin too. You can see him and Charlo. Hell, if Errol Spence gets back and beats Charlo, hell, I'm on mind seeing Errol Spence in Boots. I think that would be a good fight too. But I think the 154 division is at a good space right now. There's a lot of good fights out there. We just got word, unfortunately, that the Fedor and Thurman fight got to get pushed back because Fedor got hurt.
I ain't trying to watch that shit.
So they're pushing that back to a later date. But we do in but in early or November 8th, we do have the Lubin and Virgil Ortiz fight, and then November 22nd, we got that Benavidez card with Brian Norman and Devin Haney.
Can't wait for that.
That's gonna be a good card. I think they just announced the Lamont and what's his name, Pitbull fight. That's gonna happen, Lamont Roach and Pitbull. So I think that's in December sometime. So we got some fights coming up, you know what I'm saying? And then hopefully in 2026 we get the real fights that we want to see. And of course that trash that's coming in November, the Tank and what's your name?
We ain't even talk about that. We ain't talk about that. I do got a great topic for Wednesday though. I do got a great topic. But in this man, he looked really good. He looked really good. Very impressed. Very impressed. I agree with you. I think with Errol Spence and Charlo and all those guys seem like they're itching to get back in the ring. And then with Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, it's looking good. It's looking good for potential matchups that we could have going into next year. I know people still want to talk about Bud and Boots. I think they need to let that go. That's over. Bud ain't even thinking about that right now. I don't even know if Bud even wants to fight anymore. I think if there's one fight he'll do, it may be a rematch with Canelo, or maybe he looks to fight what's my man's name? What's my man's name?
Which one?
Bivol. I think that'll be the only one. I still say it, bro. I think Crawford's that type where he might try to go above and beyond. Like he to me seems like that guy. Will he do it? I don't know. But if they can find a catchweight, I think that'll be the one where I think he might potentially think about. I'm not saying he'll do it, but I think that would be the one where I think the Turk will throw some money at that. Like, look, I'll give you 50, 60 million to do that fight. But anyways, back to Boots. I think it's amazing. I think it's really good. Give us Boots, Virgil. There's nothing left to be said. Virgil against who's he fighting again?
Lubin,
Erickson Lubin. Should be a good one. I think Virgil Ortiz should win that fight, and I think we should get the Boots fight going into next year. Hopefully, we get it by like next March, next April, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one we all want to see. That's all we want to wait for. He finally called it out, so let's make it happen. I've seen videos of Virgil already stating that he's willing to do the Boots fight. He knows the impact of what that fight could be, and let's get it popping, man. So hopefully, Virgil take care of his business, and we can finally get the fight going into next year, and let's make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. All right. You done with your flowers?
Oh, and I agree with Mark. I was going to say Aces, Asia, everybody on and within the Aces organization. Flowers, even the Kyle Kuzma. Flowers. Congratulations. I know one day I'm probably going to get a message from her and shit. She probably like, but we going to be homies, though.
She clapped back on Twitter, too.
Who?
X. Kirsten Bell.
Oh, me?
No, just period. She be clapping back at folks.
That's cool. Like, for sure, she probably will. But if we ever meet, we probably be homies. You know what I mean? She probably cool as shit. I'll just be talking my shit. I really be talking my shit. So don't take it personal, man. Really don't. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you made the league, so I know you're talented, but I'm only just joking. But real talk, congratulations to all the Aces. Congratulations to everybody, man. You guys been a pinnacle to Vegas, and you guys been one of the best things to ever happen to Vegas in the sports world and to the community, man. So, ladies, shout out to y'all. Y'all deserve it. Enjoy Friday. Get drunk, get faded, do everything, bust it wide open, do all that shit. Do it all. Do it all. Do it all. What you mean? You ain't trying to see Jackie Young bust it open?
Okay.
Asia Wilson bust it open?
No.
Kristen Bell bust it open?
Shout out to the ladies.
That's
my flowers of the week, too.
Becky Hammond bust it open? Come on, man. Let's see what's Work? You gonna check it out? You gonna stop by?
Who?
You gonna check out the parade?
I'm gonna be at work.
It starts at 5. By the time they get there, it'll be like 6 something.
No.
You ain't. Or you could just walk over there.
Who's your hell no?
Come on, dog. Come on, man. You ain't gonna do it.
Put me on the spot, man.
He can't even stand on the top floor of the garage to just look. Hell no. Who gets my hell no? Damn, I know somebody was supposed to get my hell no. Let me think about it. I think I have a hell no. Let me double think. Go ahead if you got one.
My hell no goes to Tua Tagovailoa. I'm tired of you getting in these press conferences, man, and trying to call everybody out except for yourself. You threw 3 interceptions, man. You were not good in this game. You know you had the little potential game-winning touchdown to Darren Waller.
Mm-hmm.
You still was bad, man. Like Mom said, it was because of Achane that y'all was even in that game. And the defense kind of showing up in the second half. Probably should have had a sack on Herbert, but shout out to Herbert. You're a big guy. You know what I'm saying? He shook off the little sack from Sizer and threw the little pass to what's her name. But still, it was because of you that they was in the predicament that they was in. And in even these past games, you throw these bad picks. The Buffalo game, your fault. And you be getting in these press. Nobody come to the player only meetings. Well, that has something. Don't that mean something about you? Because player only meetings ain't mandatory. That's a meeting that all y'all correlate together to talk. So it's obvious they didn't want to talk to you. Now I'm just sick and tired of seeing Tua getting into these. Like this whole offseason, he's just been running his mouth. Like he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to get accountability, Tua? That, hey, man, I played bad. I put my team in bad situations. Had I not turned the ball over, maybe we had the opportunity to not be in the situation to having to have a go-ahead touchdown and put my defense in bad situations. Huh? If y'all had won this game, would you have even said that? No. So, I'm sick of you two. You get hell no all the week. You got one?
Yeah, I actually got a couple. First one goes to everybody who's contributing to this government shutdown, who cannot get this thing organized, man. You got people, military families who are not getting paid, who are really worried about, you know, putting food on the table. Like, get this thing going, traveling, all that stuff. But my biggest one, I saw this in the news, very disturbing, by the young lady, 5-year-old named Amari Jones. She was sexually assaulted by young boys, got urinated on, beat up, sexually assaulted with sticks. Very disturbing stuff. Those boys get held nose. Those little boys they need to be thrown under the jail. Like, I don't care how old and how young they are. That is the most disturbing thing I've ever heard of. I know this world is disgusting, but my prayers are out to that young lady and her family. I hope they get the justice that they deserve. I hope the young little girl gets the treatment and the ability to be able to live on through her life. That's so much trauma, mental trauma that she has to do. Hopefully she gets the care that she needs to get over that, which I know may be impossible. But all those young boys who were a part of that, they need to be thrown into jail for the rest of their lives and never see the light of fucking day. It's very, very disturbing, man. This world is disgusting.
Yes, it is. It is terrible.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly.
Alrighty, man.
Tyra about to be a Penn State fan.
No, because what's the name about to go to Penn State?
Yeah.
Because Matt Rule's about to go over there.
It's a possibility, I guess.
But Corey ain't going. You know what? Let me shut up.
Who?
I don't know. Never mind. Never mind. I didn't say that.
Hey, yo, Battlefield's fun too. Hey,
Yes,
shout out to Battlefield. Yeah, it's really good. It's really cool.
That's good for Battlefield.
Ah, shit. Here we go. You know you about to buy 2K real quick. You know
I'm not buying. I told you I'm boycotting 2K. I'm not playing that game. You have
what have
that.
you been playing right now? What have you been playing right now?
I actually been playing WWE 2K.
Oh, how was that? The last one that came out? No, how was that shit?
It's like every other game. Like every other game.
Are you looking forward to any games coming up?
I don't know. I got to look at the thing.
No.
The 007 game I'm looking forward to. Did you hear the idea for the Assassin's Creed game that they scrapped?
Yeah. You played as a
former slave.
That goes around killing Klansmen and shit. Yeah, I would have loved that shit. I don't know why they scrapped that.
Because it was controversial.
Oh yeah, because what they say, because of just the government, political environment and stuff like that, and Trump probably would have hated that shit. So I don't care, but it's all good. Once he's out of office, they can do it again. On a better.
They can do it now. Anyway,
they could, but
if you look at the screen, you'll see our QR code for the WWE shop. We just had a good pay-per-view that just passed by. Shout out to those men and women that performed in there. But go scan that QR code, get your all your merch from the WWE shop, from Seth Rollins to CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Van Kier, and many, many more. Also, if you want to donate to our Cash App, you can donate to $ Cris Mal Podcast. We will greatly appreciate anything that you donate to us. Also, whatever streaming platform you use, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, whatever you use to listen to your podcast, we're available. Also, first-time watchers on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification buttons when we go live on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and Wednesday, 9-ish p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can jump in the live. You can talk about these topics like Mark was today. Give us your opinion. We want to hear from you, whether you like it, like what we're saying, or not like what we're saying. We want to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Twitch, Kick, whatever you use, we're available. Follow us, we'll follow you back because we're just some regular guys who like to talk sports, music, movies, and all kinds of various other things. Also, if you have critiques or feedback, or if you have a question or a topic, and we like said question or topic, we will bring it up on the show. We will shout you out because we want to show love to those who show love to us. Yes, so hit us up via DM, emails, or our mentions. Also, somebody another flowers I wanted to. I'm going to give flowers to my parents and their 10-year anniversary at their church. We went Saturday, me and my lady. It was good. Shout out to my pops and my moms, man. They put in 10 years, strong years of ministry, and it's been growing. And I want to always show love to them.
Shout out to them, man. Shout out to your parents.
All right, good people. Until Wednesday, hope you guys have a good couple of days. We'll be back ready to make our picks for week 7 and week 8 for
already,
college.
bro. Already, this year going by quick, bro.
I know, man. Week 7 and week 8 of college football and NFL will give you our fantasy league sit and starts, and you know, we've been kind of keeping it tight knit on Wednesdays and random news. You know, Maul's random.
Talking about NBA too. NBA season starts next week, so
yeah, Maul will give us all the information on NBA. I've seen some kids out here balling out. I saw Cooper Flag put 45 up on somebody last week. So
45.
That was 45. I could be wrong, but
that was fake. But he did have a good game. But he did.
Oh, okay. I saw some white boy dunk on somebody too.
No, yeah.
So Ace Bailey's playing good too. I see.
Ace Bailey playing good. The Lakers looked all right last night. They looked decent last night.
For sure. All right. Well, until Wednesday, we out.
Yes, sir.